can't just battle me.
Welcome to the American Nomad Podcast, hosted by the legend himself, or as I refer to him, the legend in his own mind, ravholly.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the American Nomad Podcast. I am your host, ravholly. I got an amazing guest in the studio today. Unbelievable. I don't know how I drug him all the way over here from the huge city of Huntington Beach, California. This guy and I was thinking about it the other day. This guy and I, we go back like damn near 20 years. It's 2006. And he was actually the former WEC lightweight champion of the world before Zuffa, the UFC, actually bought the WEC. He was, I watched him go one of the best MMA fights I ever seen in my life in person or on TV. Was him against Donald Cowboy Cerrone. And I've known this guy because when I first moved out here to California, we were actually roommates. And without further ado, I want to introduce my old roommate, the former WEC lightweight champion, Razor Rob McCullough.
What's up?
What's up?
Thanks for having me, dude. This is awesome.
I got lucky because he brought someone better looking than both of us. So that's
I brought my better half.
That's always good for the podcast.
I brought my wife, Shanie McCullough.
Shanie McCullough.
Thanks for bringing me. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the podcast, Shanie.
I needed carpool.
Is that what it was? You needed a ride?
No, I'm just kidding.
She had the wheels
She
today.
paid for gas.
And a DJ.
Yeah.
Like, with lots of
Right.
benefits in the car.
I brought security.
Chauffeur.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that this podcast is not sponsored by Monster Energy Drink, but it damn sure should be. So anyway, Rob, we were just talking about the olden times. Back when, is that what it is now? That's like what it is. It's the olden times. Like I think about like when we were all running around Huntington Beach and shit. It's like 2006. So what's 18 years ago? Is that right?
I'm horrible at math. It doesn't seem that long ago, but
no way. Because I was thinking it was like 10 years ago, and I started
know.
thinking, no, it can't be 10 years ago.
I know, dude. It's crazy.
But then I did the math, and I'm like, 18 years? That can't be possible.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
crazy.
Where did it go? Where did it go?
Yeah. We were young and dumb and full of something.
Yep. Monster. Full of monster.
Full of Monster Energy drink. So, Rob, the last time I seen you, you were working for the UFC Gym.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I did a stint in corporate America for about a decade, transitioning from my fight career. I started at a company actually the gym I started as a kid, LA Boxing. The guy reached out to me, Anthony Geiser is his name, and was like, we were at a kid's birthday party. I had my son. He said, "Hey, bro, it's such a great story that you started at our gym and became world champion." He's like, "Hey, you know, I love the fact if you're ever looking for a position," and I was looking at him like dumbfounded, like, "Bro, I'm fighting. Like,
right.
What are you talking about?" But the fact that he, I remembered his name. He goes, every time, this is what he opened it up with. "Hey, every time I see you," and I would see him at like concerts, backstage places. We go to clubs and the VIP lounge. I was like, "Hey, what's up, Anthony?" And I'd always shake his hand. He goes, "How come you always remember my name and shake my hand?" I go, "Bro, we're like family." I go, he franchised that gym, LA Boxing. So,
oh, yeah.
yeah,
I remember that.
He got about 84 stores nationally, domestic, and then they reached out. I didn't think it was at the end of my fight career. I was 33 or so,
Right.
and he had offered a job, and I was like, "Yeah."
And was you back at fighting Tahachi Palace? Or
yeah, it was still around that time, right? I got cut out of my contract
at
for
WEC?
WEC, and I had like a $250,000 contract, so I was just like, "Oh, I'm killing it."
Right.
I had a very low overhead. And then all of a sudden,
Until you met your ex-wife.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Got married, had a house, got kids. All of a sudden I had real bills, right? Adult stuff. So I was like, okay, I got to figure out how I'm going to make sure I have job security. It was a position that I was like really not looking to do, but I was like, hey, and there was no job description. He goes, "Hey man,
whatever you do,
yeah."
you do.
And I thought about it. I'm
Make it
like,
up.
there's no better person to do what I was doing as the director of instructor training than me. I came from the gym. That's literally what I did. I started in the class, and then the guy eventually was like, "Hey bro, why don't you teach the class?" I was like, "Okay." So that I started there. So I was like, all right. So we wrote manuals. I put in like the stuff that I saw that I thought the coaches needed, which was like, you know, you're kind of making an experience. you got to make sure you're using a timer. You got to make it fun, but you also got to be, true to like, is it Muay Thai? Is it kickboxing? Is it boxing? What are you teaching? And then make sure that that person is teaching it can convey that. So it was a lot of fun. I got to put in manuals. I had a lot of smart people around me to help me like, put that into documents because that wasn't my forte at all. I think people thought I was a lot more tech savvy than I was because I used MySpace and Facebook. Right. So they're like, dude, I see you all over. I'm like, yeah, but it's because people helped me do that stuff. And then so it was cool. It got acquired by UFC Gym.
I'm the one that set up, if you remember, I'm the one that set up your MySpace page.
Bro.
Remember, I designed
Oh, that's right.
I designed all the band. That's actually how we actually met, dude.
That's right.
You don't even I don't even know if you realize this or remember this. So back in the day, I had like a company called Nordahl USA, and when I lived in Dallas and I was married, and that company was it was a preventative maintenance company. So we'd go around and change out your light bulbs, change your filters and your air conditioner on your roof and shit like that for commercial buildings. So we had 300 Sally Beauty Supply stores in 20 states. So I was traveling all the time doing that shit. And while I was doing that, this was the 90s. So I started learning how to do HTML,
coding,
web design. And so I went down to like Barnes, I don't know, I think it was Barnes and Noble actually. I think they were in business then. Or I went down to a bookstore and got like dummies for coding or dummies for HTML. Because the internet was just coming out, dude. It was like just starting up, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be on the front, the front end of this." And because I was getting sick of traveling, because I was driving everywhere, I had to drive everywhere, so I had to leave Dallas and drive 33 hours in upper New York State and shit.
That sounds
because I was pulling a trailer with ladders and shit on it to go around and check and make sure these contractors, because I would hire contractors out just to do the job, but I'd have to go in every 90 days myself and inspect every single store. So 300 Sally's stores in 20 states, dude. Yeah. So I was never home. So I was missing all my kids.
I know how that goes.
So I was like, I'm going to do something else. So at night when I was on the road, I was in hotels all the time. So I just started learning HTML. And then a buddy of mine, you met Will, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to start a porn site." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "How are you going to start a porn site, bro?" I said, "You're in the military. That's against your..." He's like a big, he's like I don't remember. He wasn't a captain. He was like right under a captain, like a corporal. He was over a sergeant. Yeah. And he was the lead tank commander out in Killeen, Texas, for the tank school out there. So he was he was in the reserves then, but he was still a big shit in the military, right? He'd been to West Point, all that shit, He was my best friend in Dallas, but he's a black guy. And I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude?" And he was a banker. He worked in the tallest building, that green building on the 86th floor. And he AIM, remember the AIM messaging on AOL? Ding, I was in a hotel one night. Ding. He's like, "Guess what I'm working on, dude?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What?" He's always doing some shit. He's like, I'm building a website." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, it's going to be an adult website." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." And long story short, he launched that website, dude. It made $5,000 the first night when he launched it.
Wow.
You know how much the server bill was?
How much?
Like 7,000.
Yeah.
So they lost 2,000. Because back in those days, like, you even had to pay for AOL. They gave you 300 minutes for free, and then after that, you paid like 42 cents a minute or some shit. First AOL bill I got was $300.
I remember you use it, and it was like a call-up dial tone.
So I learned how to HTML, and then when MySpace came out, I was working as a photographer in Dallas in the local scene. So I was kind of like the little local, how some of those local photographers kind of get to be little minor celebrities themselves.
Yeah, totally.
So I was hanging out with Darren Woodson from the Cowboys, and because the Cowboys were shit back in those days, and like we went to the lunch at the W Hotel and shit when it opened up in Dallas, me and Darren, and so I was doing shit like that, and then And I was working with a lot of local bands. And so my friend Katie Austin, who was the lead singer of the house band at this big country place in Dallas called it was called Cowboys Red River. She's like, Rav, there's this new thing coming out, and you got to get on it. And I'm like, what is it? She goes, it's called MySpace. And I'm like, what the hell is a MySpace? And she goes, it's a website, it's an internet thing. And I was like, huh. She goes, but you've got to be invited and you got to be in the music industry to get on there, but I'll get you a code. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, she told me about it and I kind of forgot about it. Then I saw her again and she goes, I got you that MySpace code. I was like, okay. So she got it. And then like
you're friends with Tom. And
2 months, 2 months went by. I didn't even do anything with it, because I didn't even know what it was. And then finally she's like, Rav, I gave you your MySpace code, but you're still not on MySpace. I want to add you to my top friends. I was like, what the fuck is that? And so I got on there and I was like, oh, dude, I was like, what? This is so cool. Yeah. And then it was just from there. And then I met Pav through a chick that I knew, that Tito and Pav came to Dallas for some fights that they were having. And Shauna, saw Pav because I think Pav was trying to bone her. Pav was boning her. And so I ended up, or she goes, I know this guy's a web designer. You should let him do your MySpace page, because MySpace was open source code. Yeah. So I designed banners. I set my MySpace page up, and then people would see my MySpace page, and they're like, hey, dude, how'd you do that? Yeah. So I did Tila Tequilas. I did, and then Pav hit me up to do his, and I did his, and then I did yours. I did GT's.
I would wake up in the morning, turn it on, look at my computer, and I would have an inbox of guys. Now that I realize more so why it was, is because people were using their music, but they're putting on highlight reels. So they were creating highlight reels for me, and then I was just pushing them out because I was like, oh, it's cool, it's me fighting. Cool, there was one, I can't remember the name. If we looked it up, we'd find it. It was like the oh god, what was it? It was, and so many people were like, bro, I listened to that all the time. It was like my montage for training. Something about the Warlock or something.
Oh yeah. That's my favorite one, dude. It's like so evil, bro.
It's a pretty good one, and when you like watch it,
let me see if I can find it.
I would be down to listen to that.
See if I can find it. Let's see if we can launch a browser here.
People always would be like, bro, that was such a good one. I would watch that go train. I was like, thanks, dude. But I heard that from so many people who were just like,
you hate it. Well, there's another one that you like that was like the boys from the South.
There's been a few. A lot of them started to be like a lot of the same video, but just different music. But that platform in itself became something that definitely helped my career, because on top of me being able to like fight and have exciting fights, people were like, hey man, like, what about wearing my shirt? And I was like, yeah, okay, it's $500. I think we'll give you a couple shirts, right? And the next thing you know, I was like, phew.
I think it's the first one that popped up.
It could be. I think
Razor
it's this one.
McCullough.
My name's Rob McCullough. My nickname's The Razor. I'm from Huntington Beach, California. I'm fighting a lightweight division, 155 pounds. I'm a striker.
This music's probably copyrighted, but it's okay.
I won't tell anyone if you don't.
Kind of loud. That's still one of the best knockouts, dude. With Olaf, what is his name? Olaf?
Olaf.
My dog's name.
No way.
Yeah, it's Olaf.
I'm knocking your dog out before I leave.
Yeah, we can see it on. Can you see it on the screen?
Yeah, I can see it there too. That's awesome.
The end of this is the best. So Razor. I miss the old gym.
Yeah, I was just thinking that same thing. Yeah. The lighting in there was good.
Yeah, it was.
Fuck your mind up, and you'll be right in pain. Stare deep into my scepter. I know you're gonna say you try to run.
Shanie, when you saw this, where you're like, that's definitely my future husband.
She was like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was watching My Little Pony.
When MySpace
Barney.
was coming around, I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So
She's perfect.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I thought I killed that guy.
I did too, and that referee was super slow.
Oh man.
So that was the old days, man. You just kept punching them until the referee stopped it.
I whisper the ancient scriptures. I'll drink the blood of the lamb. And as I begin,
His mouthpiece goes flying.
this is the day of the dead. The warlock.
You ever seen that?
I have. But
Okay. Brutal.
I am the warlock.
I still say that was one of the best knockouts I ever seen, man. That was the cleanest right hand, dude. I mean, it caught him perfect. Yeah, Razor at the last. It's so funny.
Good
The
times.
good old days.
Good time.
The good old days. So it's crazy that we're saying that, the good old days.
Expect you to listen to my commands at all time. Have a clean, fair fight. Any questions?
Yeah, we don't need to see the cut, boy.
That was a war. That was a war.
Yeah, the Bellator fight.
Oh man.
Yeah. How many fights you have in Bellator? Just that one?
Yeah, and then they loaned me out to Dream.
Oh, that's right. You
and
went
then
to
I fought-
you went to Japan.
It's a main event in Dream, yeah. Fought Aoki. That was an interesting one.
What happened to that dude? Because he was like
He
a
still
ground
fights.
master.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's probably one of the best in jiu-jitsu
Well,
and MMA.
Yeah, well,
Definitely.
I remember them talking about him against Ben Askren when Ben Askren was in Bellator. Everybody wanted to see that fight.
He was supposed to fight. I think he was supposed to fight the guy I fought in Bellator, and I think something happened. Just recently. I think it was New Year's Eve. Something happened. One of them got sick or didn't make a visa or something.
Oh, he's supposed to fight Ben?
No, he was supposed to fight that guy Patricky.
Oh, Patricky. Oh,
Yeah.
the pit bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that Aoki was like the champ, like just
Hmm.
recently. So he's still in it. He's still doing well.
And is Bellator just barely hanging on? What's going on with the Bellator?
I don't know.
Because Pav used to be pretty in with those guys, with Scott Coker and those guys.
Yeah.
With Bellator?
Yeah. And then
acquired
he,
by PFL or something.
Oh, were
Wasn't
they
there
really?
recently?
I think
there's
so.
an acquisition. Of
so,
some sort.
yeah.
Hmm.
I'm more of the. I don't watch that. UFC. I watch it. You know, I got a bunch of friends still doing stuff in it,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like, oh, it's cool. Other than that, though, there's a fight on every night, and it's like, oh, some people are like, bro, did you see the fight? I'm like, which
one?
Yeah,
Dude, it's
everyone's. I'm like, yeah.
there was a time from like UFC. I didn't see the very first UFC, but I saw like number 6 where Joe Rogan was like the first commentator or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw like Hoist Gracie, but people had talked about it, and then you had to search it up on VHS or I
Oh
remember-
yeah, you gotta have a buddy.
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I got
It was-
the tape, bro. You want to watch it?
You know who it was? Who got me into this shit was Evan Tanner. I grew up with Evan in Amarillo.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I would go to
Rest in
Amarillo.
peace.
I'd go to Amarillo and visit my grandmother, and he lived like down at the end of the block from where my grandmother lived on Vernon Street in Amarillo. So
Oh wow.
we ran around as kids, and he was already all into that shit because he wrestled and stuff. And so later on, when it started taking off, like when something would go on, he would be the one that'd be like, "Oh, you got to see this thing," and I'd be like, "What? Wow, that's crazy." Because I remember seeing that fight, thinking, "Oh man, that little guy and that little karate guy is gonna get killed." Seeing Hoist.
You know what's funny is I lived 15 to I couch surfed my whole entire high school, and the guy who lived down the street from us, the beginning of our street, was Chemo, and his buddy Joe
Oh
Son.
shit!
And I was like, isn't that the guy from that VHS tape? He had these big old Rottweilers, and he was always cool to me. Big,
Yeah.
He was a big dude. He'd walk
Yeah.
downtown. It was pretty funny. And then it was like such a small world. It's like,
Yeah,
wait a
yeah.
minute, yeah. They came in a few times. Like the guy John Peretti was like the matchmaker for UFC,
All right, yeah, yeah.
the original
Back
company.
in the day. Yeah.
I was a busboy cleaning tables, and there I remember Tank would come in there.
Yeah, Tank.
Chemo, that guy would Joe Son. There was other guys in there, so it was kind of funny because I was cleaning tables and I was like, oh, that's, and I just started training, and I was like, that's cool, dude. Those dudes are huge. That'd be cool if they had guys my size. I'd fight dudes.
Right.
I'm like, they're like, hey, go get table 5. I'm like, okay, cool.
I used to see Tank in downtown Huntington Beach throwing them back
Yeah.
like all the time. Is he still doing that?
I saw him. He was at our gym not that long ago. He lost a bunch of weight. He almost
Really?
died. Yeah,
Oh, shit.
he got like cirrhosis of the liver.
Oh no.
But I think there was like a COVID thing too.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like, yeah, he was like barely going to make it is what I heard, but lost a bunch of weight.
Gotta always find the silver lining.
Yeah, silver line, right?
I saw Mark Coleman in the hospital. Did you hear about that? What happened?
Yeah, I
to
saw
him?
it. Looks like he's out now.
Yeah, is he out?
Yeah, look like he's
Yeah,
out.
so I guess his up in Ohio, his
Yeah.
parents' house caught on fire, and Mark like literally like went in the house and saved him. Lost his dog, I guess, but
Yeah, I saw,
I saw
it
the
sucked.
video of him waking up first
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
morning
yeah,
and
yeah.
started crying. I
yeah,
was like,
I saw that
oh
too.
my god.
When his daughter or somebody walked
Yeah,
into
they
the
came and
room.
hugged him.
That dude is like one of the nicest guys. I went
Yeah.
to remember the MMA convention, the ITSAI or whatever the fuck it was back in. It was in I don't know if it's downtown LA or what. But you and that one dude had those huge boxing gloves on.
Yeah, Anaheim Convention
Yeah.
Center.
And I saw Mark there, and he was just like the nicest guy because Pav had like introduced us, and like he was just like the nicest guy.
Super nice,
so
dude.
nice guy. Yeah.
Super. I remember more than once people were like, "Hey, dude," at a UFC event, they're like, "I knocked on Mark Coleman's door, and he answered the door naked, and he was super high." I'm like, "How do you know?" Because when he answered the door, he went, and a bunch of smoke came out the wall. That's weird. They're like, yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, but he was naked?
His house.
And he didn't even care. Yeah.
No,
It's his
it's not a
house.
hotel.
It's a
Oh,
hotel
no,
room.
it's his hotel room.
That's hilarious.
Wait, you're supposed to. Never mind.
That's what hotels are for.
Yeah.
Freaking, that's hilarious. But yeah, he's such a cool guy. Yeah, best wishes to Mark. Full recovery, fast recovery. It looks like he's on his way to recovery.
Yeah. In more ways than one too. I think he's sober now.
Yeah.
As of
Yeah.
recently, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that was. I'd run into him a couple of times. It's funny you say that because I'd run into him a couple of times. I saw him at that convention, and then I saw him like afterwards, and he had no idea who I was.
He's
Who I
like,
was.
yeah, hey, what's up, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So I was going to ask you. So like, did you Jones like after you retired? Were you still jonesing to get in? Because I know like I see like Mark, like all these retired fighters are still trying to figure out a way to maneuver into a smaller org or whatever.
No, and I mean the reality was I lost a couple fights that I shouldn't have lost.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah.
just like, bro,
Right.
and we can point fingers and do whatever. So I was like, hey, dude, I need to make sure that I had real fucking bills. All of
Right.
a sudden, I went from a guy who couch surfed his
Yeah.
entire career to
Wife.
a homeowner,
Yeah.
a wife,
Yeah.
and kids. And I was like, all right, dude, I gotta make sure I got a paycheck to like feed everybody.
Right.
So that was the timing was essential. I think that definitely helped. I got myself into trouble, legal trouble too. So I think the timing of everything, the way it worked out, was an easier transition than probably most guys were. Because it's sad, you see guys,
Yeah.
bro, you got one
Yeah.
more in you. I don't know how many times I ran into BJ Penn
Oh, yeah.
while I was going through that same thing, and they'd say to us both, "Hey man, you got one more in you. You guys,
Right.
you guys still fighting? When's
Yeah.
your next fight?" Right.
Right.
So I always transitioned that question into still fighting with my wife. I'd always do something to like, okay,
Yeah.
bro. And BJ would always go, "Yeah, man," and then people would hype him up, and I'm like,
Right.
bro, like you kind of have to know, like at some point, it's like,
Yeah. It's time.
I wanted to make money, and I wanted to make sure that I was having fun doing it, and I wanted to make sure that I could feed my family and
Right.
pay my bills. And I was like, fighting is challenging if you're not 100% committed to
Right.
it. I always said that I was married to my job.
Yep.
And then I literally got married.
Yep.
So I was like,
It's funny.
cheating on my job.
It's funny you say that because with me is like I always say like if you really look like not all fighters but a lot of fighters like they have like it's weird because like back in the day, especially when you were coming up and everybody was just all single dudes, just like just
We all like
hamming
to
it
fight.
up, bro. Everybody wanted to fight, yeah.
Everybody want to fight, and then
And then you watch them in the UFC or whatever they're doing in the single guy, and then the moment they get married, dude, and their wife's in the crowd,
Yeah, and I mean,
soften them up.
and that's not
No,
everybody.
no blaming on the wife.
No.
That was his first wife.
Yeah.
It's all uphill.
It's-
my
but I'm
wife's
just
a
talking
Jew.
about females in general. But
No.
the dudes, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that with training partners I
Yeah.
had that came from
Yeah.
that were the top wrestler guys,
Yep.
and they come to California and they're in Huntington Beach and they're like, bro,
Yeah.
there's a lot of hot chicks here. And the next thing you know, like
They forgot all about
they're late,
fighting.
Yeah, they're late to practice.
Yeah.
They're not showing up, and I was like, oh no, dude.
Yeah.
So that was another part of it being challenging. I took my camp towards the end. I went to Extreme Couture in Vegas.
Oh
and
yeah,
trained
yeah.
with Randy.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
really cool. And I won the fight. I trained with God, what's his name? Sean. He passed away. Oh God, what's his last name? Striking coach. Anyways,
yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was Misha Tate's coach. Yeah.
His last name is escaping me.
I can't think.
Anyways, trained with him. We had great camp. I broke my hand in the fight though.
Oh yeah.
And that set of events went because I was a fracture and I needed to get surgery, so it snapped in the bone in a compound. So got surgery, and that.
And which fight was that?
That was Marcus Hicks.
It
was in
Corpus
Christi.
Yeah, you hit him in the head, wasn't?
Yeah, I hit him, and he had a huge head.
Yeah,
that's not what she said. And yeah, broke that hand. Went on vacation, and then doctor's like, "Hey, that's broken. You need surgery." Got a nice prescription for pain pills, and then sat around not doing anything. I was like, I'll let it heal. And all that momentum I had kind of went,
just downhill.
Yeah, which sucked.
Women and injuries. Yeah, women.
So
and
I had that, and you had some prescription pills.
Yeah,
which is not
not
a good combo for
not a good
anybody.
mix.
Yeah, so dealing with all that stuff, the jonesing part of me fighting, I love competition. I love training. I think I try to make stuff a lot harder than it needs to be because I feel like I thrive in chaos, which sounds like a super broken dude to say that, but I've pulled it off, and I feel more comfortable there. Yeah, which is I think why my upbringing as a kid was kind of, it coincided with being in the back and having all this, oh my God, you guys ready to fight? Yeah, and I was like, yep. And to me, it was a lot of fun. To me, I was always joking around with everybody, and I'd see people dealing with it differently. Some people were trying to sleep before a fight. Some people looked really nervous. I was just like, hey, dude, this is fun. This is like being at home. Like, let's do this. And I'm going to get paid for it. I was like, awesome. So I wasn't jonesing when I got done because I transitioned into a career where I was sitting in a corporate office, and I'm like, okay, I don't know anything I need to do. So it was like every day was something new. Hey, dude, I learned how to type. I'm like typing things. I'm like, hey, dude, yeah. And I started traveling a bunch. So I got preoccupied. I also started gaining weight because I was still eating like a guy who's training when I wasn't training.
Right.
Yeah. So in my mind, I was like, hey, I got paid to cut weight. The fighting part was fun. All of a sudden, I didn't have to cut weight. So,
I remember you had a hard weight cut for one fight. I can't remember which.
Donald Cerrone was a pretty hard one.
It was Donald, yeah.
Yeah, Donald was a hard one. I had a couple of them where it was kind of like,
Yeah, I remember you in that.
But I never missed weight.
I remember you in the trash bag. Did you live in Vegas when you were training at Extreme Couture?
Yeah, for the camp, For the camp I did. And then when I filmed The Ultimate Fighter, which was twice, 2 seasons that I lived
in. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You did with Rampage's team and...
No, first one was season 11 with Tito's team. So
that's right.
Team Ortiz, the striking coach, with Sal Solis. And Kleber Luciano was our jiu-jitsu guy, and Tito was a head coach. And then season 14 was Michael Bisping, striking coach.
That's right.
With Tiki, and Brady Fink was the grappling coach.
Dude,
season 14.
Talking about you living in chaos, I remember you and Tiki. Like, Tiki had a fight coming up in WEC, and you and Tiki, I guess, went down just Main Street and got into it. And Tiki somehow he fell on his butt. Remember, he had a contusion on his ass. He was showing everybody. Remember that?
No,
and then,
but
and then he had because that.
Wow.
So like where Sugar Shack is, going down Main Street, and then you go down to where the park, and you turn left, and the parking garage is over there, and they'd put that new like Tiki bar in across the street. I don't know what's there now.
Yeah.
That was years ago. Yeah, you probably don't even remember.
No, I don't.
you guys went down there to check it out, and then Tiki, like, you guys got into it with somebody. Somebody was
It's very easy
shit.
to do that if you're
especially in
on a
Huntington
weekend.
Beach. Especially in Huntington Beach.
On a weekend when everyone's drinking,
Yeah, that was actually the thing to do. The funny thing about Huntington Beach is what was so funny to me is like I would go out sometimes, like we'd all go out together, and then everybody kind of knew like, oh, those guys are probably fighters. But then I'd go out sometimes by myself, and I would see like what was going on, and I'd see like somebody, I'd be like, oh, I saw him at the gym, so I knew he was cauliflower ears and stuff. And then there'd be some dumbass from Ohio or Michigan or somewhere,
someone visiting.
Yeah, someone drunk. Visiting
some
drunk.
Tough guy.
Yeah, some tough guy, and it just didn't work out. It wouldn't work out well for him in the end.
No.
And I was like, dude, I would think to myself, you got to be an idiot to come to Huntington Beach.
Yeah, there's literally
get yourself into.
They're everywhere.
Yeah,
fighters are everywhere in Huntington Beach for some reason.
Yeah. Well, it used to be like I used to say like when I was in Dallas, like it was just like the Mecca, like everybody talked, because Tito was the lightweight champion in the UFC, so it was like everybody talked about Team Punishment and Huntington Beach. So it was super cool when I moved out there, and then I guess it became like Winkle or in Albuquerque.
Yeah. Winklejohn. And,
Winklejohn, and yeah, that became like that blew up, and then Randy's Gym, Extreme Couture in Vegas.
Yep.
It's so funny now because I've been removed from the MMA thing for so long, and then I just because of you guys but now like people talk to I'll be in a bar or something, people was like, hey, I'm going to teach you about the UFC, or how much you know about the I'm like, oh dude, I know some guys that used to they used to train MMA, they used to fight him, or they used to train UFC.
They used to train UFC.
Yeah,
I think they have black belts or something.
Yeah.
In UFC.
So I guess Tito moved to Florida.
Yeah, he moved to Florida, Cape Coral, Florida. I think like the end of last year.
Yeah, I just saw him. He just announced that he was packing up and heading that way. I can't believe it. Like, because he was like his whole moniker thing was the
HB Bad Boy.
Yeah, HB Bad Boy.
Yeah, he got into like the political realm.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Huntington Beach was like the interim mayor, and I think I don't know, but I think at the end of the day, so many people, and he was calling it the pandemic, and I think a lot of people were just like, just get this dude out of here. And so I think they did probably a pretty good job of just kind of getting him, steering him clear. Plus, I mean, for a financial reason,
so much cheaper over there.
So much cheaper, and the taxes, right?
Taxes, dude.
I think he understood that, like, hey, dude, there's a shelf life for professional fighters, professional athletes, and at some point he's not going to get those big paychecks. Yeah. And why give it to the state when you can? He's got kids to raise, man. So yeah, it made sense. I understood. And what he was trying to do was get rid of his house and then take that money, and which was a great idea, and
invest it over there, and it goes so much further over there.
He would get double the size, and so that's what he did.
No state income tax.
Save the kids from the woke agenda. Too.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine that is he's a major celebrity, and he moved he's got a residence here, but his main residence is in Florida. Yeah. And he told me that when he moved to Florida, the IRS came after him for taxes because they viewed his main residence was in California. Yeah. So he had to prove that he had been in Florida for
at least 6 months or something.
Something like that, for that he had actually been. So he had rented a house while he was he rented a house while he was having his house built. So the IRS still thought they could get him. But the difference in the taxes, he was able to prove it in court, his tax lawyer was. But the IRS was like auditing him and trying to go after him. He saved $1.5 million, dude, just by being able to prove that he was in Florida. And this was back.
Mo money, mo problems.
Yeah, we're talking about this was back like years ago. It's not like it was like, last week.
I grew up a guy who didn't have a lot of money, but I didn't I don't align happiness with money. So it was more of like, hey, dude, passion and enjoying your life and trying to give back somehow. What I realized was, hey, dude, there's a lot of stuff I didn't understand and they don't teach you in school. Yep. I took an economics class, but I didn't graduate high school. So I was like, yeah, cool. I read a lot of really good financial books that kind of got me going with it. Why We Want You to Be Rich by Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That was the first one I read.
And that
the
kind of
purple. I'll never forget. It was purple. I was like,
it's such a good book. It's
such a good book.
The education part of it makes you go, oh, okay.
It's not what you make; it's what you save.
Yeah, right. And then like the vehicles of trying to like you're not defrauding the government, but like tax loopholes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People who make a lot of money, like your friend you just said,
they all use them.
Yeah, you have to. That's why people who make money keep money. People who don't,
they have no idea.
Yeah, we're buying rims and jewelry. It's like, all right, cool, dude. Still gonna be working at the gas station though.
Yeah. I remember in Texas, it used to be notorious. Like you'd see people like living out like in rural areas, dude, and they would have like a pimped out ride living in like a little tiny, their car was worth more than their house.
Yeah.
It's here too.
It's here too. Yeah.
It's a mindset though, right?
Yeah,
so
it is.
There's a little bit of education.
It really is. I think a lot of it is like, I grew up, was it that we were poor? It's just my dad was super cheap. You know what I mean? Like he would go buy like a $1,200 pair of cowboy boots, but like if I wanted like a toy or something, like money don't grow on trees, and what was his?
You can make that in the yard.
Yeah.
It's a G.I. Joe.
And so, so I think that scarcity, like when you do get money, that when you grew up without it, you just want to start buying everything that you can, you can have. Like, so I think a lot of people that don't have money, when they start making money on their own, they just blow it on just materialistic things.
Yeah, especially if you don't know either. And I think for professional athletes, they think that money's going to keep coming.
Yeah.
So they don't have an idea of like, hey,
and it's so quick.
Yeah. And if you have a good year, you might make a lot more sponsors and everything else. But if you don't, which no one ever really gets ready, prepares for, I might have a bad year or I might get injured.
Right.
And then if that does happen, you're sitting around going, all right, well, what am I going to do now? I had all of that happen. And so was trying to think about, all right, what do I need to do to make sure I can hold, how do I make my money make money for me, and how do I hold on to it? Starting a t-shirt company was one way. Hosting seminars when I wasn't competing was another. And then,
I know probably one of the smartest things you ever did, though, and I think it was Pav that told you to do it, and that was like buying that house. I remember you coming to me asking me like, what do you think about me buying this house? I was like, Razor, go for it, dude. I said, even if you just rent it out, bro. Yeah. I said, it'll be an investment and it'll always be there.
I'm on my second home now. Yeah. And the best part about that is when I purchased it, it was in 2008. Yeah. So, I mean, if you remember where
it looked like a cabin
where the Connie was at there.
Yeah. It was.
I was like, so I paid the
highest interest.
Oh my God. The people were clamoring when I looked at it, because they're like, they paid a fraction of what I was paying them. So they're like, we're going to take this money and we're going to run. Yeah. So I was like, hey, it was really hard for me to qualify for the loans because I was so used to using cash.
You're right.
And I never wanted to have credit card debt. Right. And they're like, hey, you have to have like
credit.
You have to have loans in here that are like, look like you actually make all this money. I'm like, well, I do, but it comes in chunks. Right. So that was, what do they call them? Seasoned accounts.
So it was a high interest loan.
What happened is I got into a negatively amortized fixed arm loan.
Oh no.
Which sounds like Chinese to anybody, except if you watch that movie, The Big Short. Yeah. I got one of those loans. So in the midst of that's pretty much what got me from competing all the time and fighting to like, hey, dude, I need a job to be able to pay off this stuff, because I have a family now and I don't want to have a house and I don't want to lose my house. So that was the part that was like, oh.
So the interest rate fluctuated continuously on that thing.
Yeah. And
depending on the market.
And so all of a sudden I had a $2,000 a month mortgage, and then it went to $5,000. Oh, and shit. I was like, whoa. And then, so, and it was supposed to be a rental property, which I knew nothing about that in the first place. And I didn't have a property manager or anything else. So I learned the hard way, but I figured it out. Probably a lot of networking too definitely helps, right? You're only as strong as your network. So
you still have it, or did you sell it?
No, I sold it. Sold it in my divorce.
Oh yeah, but you probably got a pretty good chunk of change out of it in equity, right?
I mean, I did well.
Yeah, because I think you got it for less than $1 million, and I'm sure it's way over $1 million when you sold it. I think you got for like $788,000 or something like that.
A little less than that, but close. Yeah, but
And I remember we like doing the numbers. I told you it's a good thing to do just for investment wise, or have it.
Yeah, I mean taxes and everything else, you can write it off, and it's in accrue because it's real estate. It's by the beach, so it's like hey,
and the property value is never going to go down. Yeah, because it's so close to the beach.
Yeah. So that to me was like the smartest part of it. Yeah. That to me was like, that also saved me in my divorce. Yeah. Because I didn't realize it at the time, but it was the biggest asset. My ex-wife did. My ex-wife realized it.
She knew.
It was the biggest asset that we had, that she was like, hey, I'm taking this. I was like, oh, no, you're not. But
so you had to work it out where you had to sell it to split it, or?
Well, I did it as pure spite too. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, really?"
Because when you bought that place, she was nowhere in the picture when you bought that place.
No, not at all.
It was years later before she came around.
Yeah. So
me and GT actually were roommates there to begin with.
Yeah. I remember. Cool. I remember, dude. I ended up renting it to a family for a couple of years. And it was cool. And
it was actually cool. I liked it. It was a nice spite. Yeah,
I fixed it all up when I moved in.
The neighborhood was so the neighborhood was like so quiet, and
I know. I drive by all the time and I'm like, man, because it was like the corner was like a big park.
Yeah.
So it was a big greenbelt.
It's like a cul-de-sac, and it wasn't a cul-de-sac, but it was like a corner cul-de-sac or something, and then all back behind it was just like,
it was like a giant park.
Yard. Yeah.
It was cool. My house now though is a little bigger. It's very similar community. We got all the stuff we need. We got a bunch of kids too, so it definitely it has everything you need for it.
Where's your place at now?
Still in Huntington Beach.
Yeah, but what part of it?
We're just on the outskirts. Like you go past Beach Boulevard, Newland.
Oh yeah.
Like those run parallel, but in that area.
Nice.
Not to give you my address. But,
yeah, right. I was trying to give everybody exactly where Razor Rob was.
The coordinates are 75. No.
We'll send everybody over there.
Rob's like, please come break into our house, please.
Yeah,
I've been my wife and I would both
barbecue Sunday. Barbecue Sunday at 5.
And our kids.
Look for the guy shadowboxing in his front yard.
Yeah.
So how did you two guys meet?
Oh man.
You want to tell money? I've been doing all talking.
Oh, great. So it's on me. It kind of through like the MMA world. It's kind of a small world. When he first came on my radar, I was actually he got my ex-boyfriend a job. Right when UFC Gym acquired LA Boxing.
Right.
He hired him, and I think that we kind of connected on Facebook, but we didn't really know each other. But that was kind of when he first came on my radar. That was a long time ago, like more than 10 years ago.
I mean, nobody's counting. 2002 or whatever.
2002.
Or whatever.
I used to train and compete in jiu-jitsu and MMA. So, I don't know. I ended up working for UFC Gym in 2013, and that's kind of how we connected a little more. Then I ended up working in the corporate office in 2017. And then we became pretty good friends.
The one over here that was in Costa Mesa or wherever?
It was in Santa Ana.
Oh, it was Santa
Now they're
Ana.
in Newport.
Yeah, they moved from Santa Ana to Newport.
Yeah.
See,
so then we started working together, and then we became like work friends, and then we go like train together, and our kids would play together, and yeah.
So the cool thing is we were friends first, which was
that's cool.
And we got to work together. So I was like, oh, cool. And we ended up doing a bunch of work trips. So I was like, all right, this chick's cool. She likes to work out too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a crazy story of how we ended up together. Like
it could be a
dating
movie.
Them. It could be. Okay, so UFC Gym, the COVID hit, the whole world shut down. All the gyms shut down. Everyone in the corporate office, probably like 75% of the company, was furloughed, myself and him included. We just kind of fell off.
But they were still paying you guys?
No.
Oh, they
weren't? No.
Holy shit.
No.
It was basically like, hey, when the gyms open back up, like, hopefully there's a position for
because you were still at the corporate office though, right?
Yeah.
Was the one that I went to and saw your office, was that in Costa, or was that?
No, that was Santa Ana.
That was Santa Ana.
Yeah.
The 2-story, or was it like a 2-story little corner building?
Yeah.
With all the glass. Okay,
yes.
That was Santa Ana.
Yes.
It's a nice area. I can believe that's Santa Ana.
I know. It's like if you go over Windshield, it's like Irvine, Tustin, Santa Ana. Yep.
There's a meme that I used to have. It was actually a the Lion King Simba thing. It's like Simba and his dad's looking out over the mountain. Is like, that's Santa Ana over there. Never go there.
That's hilarious.
Don't ever go there.
Yeah, so we were furloughed. The whole world shut down. I hadn't really I didn't talk to him or see him for probably like 6 months. It went from seeing each other in the office every day and being like, hey, let's like train before work or whatever. We did jiu-jitsu and whatever, to not seeing him at all. I was living in the South Bay at the time, and LA really shut down hard, like to where you couldn't go to the beach, you couldn't go outside. I had kids.
So you're like around Hermosa or Redondo?
Yeah, exactly. I have kids, and I wasn't able to like take my kids to the beach. Some of my friends rented a house because they lived in Hidden Hills.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with them. So they're like, hey, we're just going to rent a house in Huntington until this COVID thing shuts down. So they rented a sick house. They have kids too. Yeah. So they're like, come over, we'll hang out.
Hidden Hills is a shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we'd like play, go to the beach, because I just wanted my kids to have a normal summer and childhood, not be inside.
Right.
Meanwhile, Antifa happens. Black Lives Matter, the riots, all that goes down.
Right.
And
I'm going to use air quotes on riots, but
well, it was rioting other places.
In Long Beach still.
The reason he said riots is because they weren't actually able to do anything in Huntington Beach because of this guy and all of the Huntington Beach locals that stood off. So we decided to go down. We're like, dude, there's riots. They're dropping off bricks, all this stuff. We're like, let's go see. So I have decided to walk downtown. And I see all these guys wearing white Defend HB shirts. And I was like, is that Tito?
Yeah,
and I was
I saw the
all these people. And then I was like, oh my gosh, Rob. And I gave him a huge hug. And he was like, my wife left me. She took the kids, all this stuff. And I was like, oh man, like, it's all right. Like, we're good. Like, hey, what have you been, you want me to hold pads for you? I don't know. Like what, I could just see he was so hurt. He was so sad. So I was like, come on, let's go like train. I'll go hold bits for you or whatever. So I just, we pretty much never stopped hanging out since then. And that was about 4 years ago.
Help me. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is like, this is like the kind of chick you always need. I always try to tell Rob, like, dude, find what I don't know. I never understood why you didn't date. Rob would never date gym chicks. Like when I met Rob, he had a girl. It was like a big thing in MMA because Rob's had a girl that held mitts and stuff for him. Where did she go? Or what was her name?
Probably Jade.
Yeah, Jade. Yeah. She was like a tall chick, but she always held pads for him, and everybody thought they were a couple and stuff. And I'd be like, no.
Oh no, you're talking about Erin Tohill.
Yeah, Erin Tohill. Yeah.
She's still
around.
Yeah.
She was my boxing coach.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody always thought you guys were like
good.
we'd be in the gym and stuff. It'd be like Razor's wife. I'd be like, dude, that's not
she's not
Razor's wife.
Female pioneer. Like,
yeah,
she's the
right.
one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think, and I alluded to it earlier, but I always said, hey, dude, I'm married to my job, and I'm being dead serious when I said that. Yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, I thrived in chaos. What I ended up doing, which is very similar to like, what's that girl's name? Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Is I would go to a strip club or a Hooters, and then the next thing you know, I'm dating a stripper or a Hooters girl or whatever else they would do on the side.
Absolutely.
And in my mind, I was like, can't be serious with this girl because they do this for a living. And then it ended up getting kind of serious, and I was like, hey, dude, I got to train for a fight, blah, blah, I'll call you. And then I'd get mad, and I'd go to the gym because I was mad, and I'd get a training camp going, and that's how it went. So I always played in that pool. But if you play in the sewer long enough, you bring home trash. And unfortunately, I brought home too much trash. And I was like, all right, but I got some really cool, cute kids out of it. And that being said, I got to meet Shanie. And I was like, dude, we have a lot in common. We like to work out. Oh, you're funny. Okay, cool. And then I started going, dude, our background is very similar. We're the parents were like had kids, like the Brady Bunch, right? Their parents had different siblings, so it was very similar. And I was like, I was almost in my mind like, hey, I saw where she could go with it. In my head, I'm like, hey, dude, like she had kids, I had kids, and I'm like, all right, it was the timing,
perfect team mentality.
Yeah, he's like my best friend. Everything that I love to do, like we do together.
Yeah, you do together.
Know? Like that's
what she said.
So Rob, it's funny because back in the MySpace days, Rob was meeting these girls on MySpace and stuff, and then he would date some of them, and he would ask me, remember that? You'd come to me and ask, hey man, like, do you know anything about this chick? And I ended up, and I would tell him, dude, stay away from that chick. And then there was,
would you listen?
Hell no.
Absolutely not.
I set him up with my friend Jamie Eason. Remember that?
Yeah, and I still talk to Jamie Eason. I see her on Instagram here and there.
And then I didn't realize Rob likes really tall girls. He doesn't like short girls. And Jamie's like 4'5", or she's like 4'11" or something like that. She's super short, but yeah. But I've never had a conversation with Rob about his ex-wife. But when he like,
oh man,
it's Razor. I can't tell him what I really, and I was like, oh yeah, you're like, cool, Rob. I was like, oh dude, what are you doing, bro?
Bruh.
The first time I went over to their place, you guys had rented a place right there down the street from Sugar Shack, like a condo.
Yeah.
And I went up there.
Street,
I went up there, and I'm looking around, dude. It was this super nice condo. So I'm like, Rob, what is this place like? And this was way back, probably maybe 2009, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, like, what is this place like? $2,800 a month? Like, Rob's like, no, it's like $4,000, $4,200 or something like that. I was like, oh shit, dude.
Yeah.
And then the ex-wife had a Bentley, she had a Mercedes, Range Rover, and then I was like, oh, did she pay cash for all of those? And he's like, no, dude. There's like, so he started giving me all the payments, and I'm like, bro.
Well, I told you I read all those financial books, right?
It's time to consolidate, bro. You got to get rid of that Bentley because there's a red Bentley. I said it's a red Bentley anyway, dude. Nobody wants a red Bentley. Get rid of that fucking Bentley. But really Rob did listen to me on that stuff. He consolidated. I don't know. She probably wasn't happy about it, but
no. And what I had said was, hey, dude, like literally the first time I ever hung out there, I was like, hey, just so you know, like don't throw out to me like, hey, I think I'm pregnant. And she was like, what? And I was like, I'm just throwing it out there, dude. Yeah. She's like, dude, are you tripping? And I was like, I'm just saying, so we're on the same page here. And then I'd mentioned something about, hey, dude, I would never have a family with someone that does what you do. Mm-hmm. She did porn, in case we're all on the same page here. And so I think you're
not supposed to marry the porn star.
Yeah, you're not supposed to take those on and marry him. So that being said, what I did was gave her the blueprint of, hey, if I tell him I don't do this anymore, he would consider having a family. So now she's like, all right, this guy, yeah. So at the end of the day, that's exactly what happened. And it is what it is. We have really cute kids out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. So everything happens for a reason, which is cool. But it was also like, hey, like I spent my entire life training not to make much money, but to train to see that I'm the best.
Yeah.
And I got to prove that. And then it was like, once you're the champ, the hardest part is staying on top.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because now
everybody's gunning for you.
Well, everybody's gunning for you, but it's hard to be totally honest with you, it's hard to get feedback when you're looking at some guy and he's telling you to do this. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. I'm the champion. What the fuck are you telling me for?
Yeah.
So it's that's when you're supposed to take a back seat to a trainer. And I was bouncing between different trainers. And I didn't have that like father figure to be like, hey, dude, pull your head out of your ass.
Yeah.
So at one point I had a buddy, Pav. He was like, hey, bro, when I first met you, when I first signed you, you would train all day, then you'd do privates, which you were still training with you, and then you'd come back home and you'd go run.
Right.
He's like, now you're going to the Playboy Mansion and you're out drinking with your buddies. I'm like, shut up, dude. Like, I made it this far. I know what I'm doing. But the reality was you can't burn the candle at both ends. Yeah. So, I mean, everything happens for a reason. So, my life is designed because of the way I did it.
Yeah, not the bad mouth Razor's ex-wife, but like one day, like we came back.
We can bad mouth his phone.
We came back from somewhere, and I don't know. You guys have been married you had kids, so you had the baby. Your oldest son was a toddler.
Yeah, 2010 and
so it was,
and 2014.
Yeah, so it had to have been 2010, and we came back, and it was like 3:34 o'clock in the afternoon, dude. I met you at the gym. We did we were coming to do a photo shoot for some clothing. Maybe it was your. I guess it was Razor clothing.
Mine,
yeah, and there was another model, but she was still asleep. Remember? And well, you don't remember, but she was still upstairs asleep, and the baby was downstairs by himself. And Razor, I just saw you just seeing red, dude. You were like in there, like making food and making him something to eat because he was starving. He hadn't eaten and stuff. And I was like, I don't know how Rob is gonna like put up with that.
Now I understand.
I don't know how Rob is not gonna kill this chick. I don't know because
we were total polar opposites, and I think I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
What I liked was the fact that what I had been dealing with was a lot of people that were a lot of girls that I didn't have anything when I first started this thing, and the next thing you know, I have money in the bank, I have a house, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then it seemed like there's a lot of hands out, and I'm looking at people going, hey, dude, like, I'm trying to hold on to this stuff. I'm not trying to like buy everybody's bottles and I mean like nightclub bottles, not baby bottles. And so the fact that she was financially secure to me in my but how she got that money was another whole nother story.
But she had her own money coming.
Yeah, she had her own money, and I was like, all right, cool. But then I was like, hey, to be honest with you, the car payments and stuff, it's not going to be viable. You're a slave to those. You don't own them; they own you. Yeah. And I think she appreciated that I had that perspective. And so I think because like her last boyfriend was like, oh yeah, cool, driving around her cars and thought it was all cool. She got rid of all that stuff, got stuck with it, filed bankruptcy, and then it was like, cool. Then it dawned on me, hey dude, not only am I taking care of kids and a house, I have to take care of my wife too. Right. So I was like, all right. And then I got cut out of my contract, and I was like, all right. And then my manager's like, hey bro, we'll go to the other obscure shows. They're going to pay you a lot of money because you're the guy who was the champ. Right. So I was like, all right, cool. And I did that for a while. And you know what's funny is I saw that movie, The Wrestler.
Oh, dude, that movie was such a good movie.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to remember what the name of the main character guy.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke, thank you. Yeah. And so if you watch that movie, I'm fighting these obscure shows. I have a baby. We drive to Lemoore, California,
which is the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, literally, I was just there for wrestling for my kids last weekend.
It's a big place for fighting in California because they have the Tahachi Palace.
They have a few mountain table mountain or something. Yeah. They have quite a few Indian casinos. Right. So it's kind of like. It's the place. Sovereign territory. Yeah. They were paying really well.
King of the Cage still there?
They're down south, like Saboba, but still Indian casinos. But I remember going, hey, I'm going to go fight. I left my kid and my wife in the room, and I go, I'll be back. As soon as I get paid, we'll go to the cage. I'll cash this check. We'll get in the car. We'll drive home. And it was very eerily a reminder of that movie, The Wrestler. And I'm looking at my kid, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want my kid to be like raised like this. So I was thinking, and then I just had been asked about, hey, dude, the guy gave me his card. You could be the director of instructor training. And I'm like, all right, that's like a paycheck. I can figure it out. So that's kind of how that ball in motion kind of started. And I won the fight, and it was cool. And I was driving home, and I made good money. And I was like, all right, dude, like, I'm going to
start looking around.
Yeah. I'm going to start taking some offers here.
Yeah, so start looking for a way out.
Yeah.
So back to I got a bottle story that Razor probably doesn't remember this, but this was back when you were WEC champion. You and I went to to Newport Beach, and I think it was the Pelican or Pecan or some shit. It was upstairs. It was a club upstairs. You had to wait in line. We didn't have to wait in line because we went through with you, but you go up the stairs and it was a bar up on top and it had like a little balcony and stuff. It was really popular. It's still there. I drive there, but it's something different now.
Yeah. It used to be a Hooters, I think. It's a building you're talking about.
Yeah. It was Hooters. But we went in there one night and I don't know if it was your birthday. I think maybe it was your birthday party. But I showed up. I don't know if I rode with you. I think I went separate, but I showed up and it was just kind of me and you there at first. And then as the night progressed, like at the end of the night, there was probably 35 people around the table. And we're just going back. And Rob had told me when we first got there, he's like, hey, Rav, like, dude, you can put your drinks on my tab. I'm like, yeah, cool. We'll split at the end of the night. And so we're like, me and Rob are like, we're not getting sloshed, but we're like, we're doing all right. End of the night comes along, dude. Everybody's gone. You remember this?
Bro, it happened all the time.
Yeah. And so we're sitting there and the lights are coming on and stuff. And the waitress brings the bill. And the bill was, I think it was $2,300 or something like that. And I was like, oh my God. And Rob's looking around wherever and everybody's gone, dude. And I was like, oh my God, dude. And I was like, I got like 300, Rob. So I gave Rob like 300, dude. And you could just see he was sick, dude. You're just like,
I was making good money.
Yeah,
I was making good money as a personal trainer because I was training people to fight. And we have the gym, HB Ultimate Training Center. So just that alone, I was making really good income annually. And then the fighting was gravy. And then because of MySpace, there was like the first generation of essentially being like a fucking influencer. Right. So I was getting paid for sponsorships. So I was selling sponsorships.
Yeah, Pico Pagal used to pay you like $3,500 a month or something like that.
And 10
this
grand
was back. This was back in the day.
I was making good money and it was gravy. Right. At the time. Yeah. So I was super excited about it, but I was also like, all right, that bill was like, all right, cool, whatever. But was really responsible of the idea of, hey, dude, don't blow all this money. Yeah. And my manager at the time was like, hey, dude, you're one injury away. And I remember him telling me, hey, I've dealt with a lot of...
Was that Pav that told you that?
Yeah. I've dealt with a lot of guys who were AAA baseball, made it to the pros, and then they left me. I'm like, why would they leave you? They're like, they got signed. A guy showed up in a limo with a bunch of chicks and more money, and they left. And I'm like, bro, I'd never do that to you. Well, kind of happened. But, and then I was like, well, dude, that sucks. And you kind of start to see it like, hey, you start making money. He's like, but if you don't have a backup plan, right? If you don't have a backup plan, you need to figure out what you're going to do because you could get injured or you get cut out of a contract and then you're not getting paid that kind of money. And so he was like, we should get real estate. So he was the one to kind of plan it. No one in my family owns a home. So I was like, it was a super over like, yeah, okay, bro. Like, okay. Yeah, real estate one day. And then we started making money. He's like, let's put that money somewhere. Right. So that definitely helped. And he definitely set me up for success on that one. So it was because I was influenced around people who were much smarter than I was. So that definitely helped the guy now that I am. That younger one was like, but I think being a student and being open to feedback definitely helped because a lot of guys are like, whatever, or you assume, or you give someone all your money and then they piss it all away for you. Right. So
it was just the simple fact that like at that time that everybody just assumes that you're just going to pick up the tab, which I see this with celebrities all the time, and most of the time they do, but it's just like it's expected because you're the one that's balling. Yeah. So like that night, everybody was like coming to the table, and then when they would order, and then it would just the waitress would just put it on Rob's tab. Yeah. So we had no idea. We thought at the end of the night, we thought we had maybe like a $500 bill between the two of us because I was buying like chicks drinks and stuff like that too. But
they call them bottle rats.
Yeah.
Bottle rats. You don't, the stuff you don't understand until you're the guy purchasing the bottle. Yeah. And I was always the guy who was waiting to get in line. I was like, hey dude, my friend's got a table. Could I get a wristband? And then next thing you know, I was like,
you're the guy.
I don't really want to stand in line. Hey bro, I'll just get a table. Let's be my buddies. Yeah. And then my buddies want to get chicks. So the next thing you know, everyone's at the table. Everyone's like, I need another bottle. And at $500 a bottle, right? That shit goes fast. So I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's that's why when I met my ex-wife, I was like, oh, you got your own money? Like that's kind of nice. You're not asking for stuff. That's kind of nice too.
She had her own money. You remember Eli Webby?
It sounds familiar.
He was the kid that used to remember Barry. Barry, I can't remember the kid's name. He was the MMA kid that was fighting King of the Cage. He was the champion of King of the Cage. Barry, the kid, something.
Barry
Oh my God.
Wood.
No.
That's the black guy with the meme thing.
The meme heard around the world.
So Eli
changed my life.
Eli was the dude that had the huge mohawk. Remember the kid that used to follow Barry? He had a huge mohawk. You'd see him at all the MMA shows.
I can picture people with a big mohawk, but I don't know.
Anyway, when he left Huntington and he went to LA, well, he was the door guy that night at Crest. We all went to Crest, and he's the one that got us in.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He was the door guy.
What's his name?
Eli Webby.
Is it Eli Webby? That's his name?
Yeah.
But they're talking about the other guy.
No.
God, what's his name?
So anyway, so he ended up being my contact in Hollywood. So anytime like people call me like, "Hey, Rav, I want to get in the club," so you can go to Crest, man. And I text Eli. I'm like, these are going to spot you like 100 if you can walk them in. And so like,
oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So he did that. He's like his own celebrity now, dude. He's like, yeah. He ended up getting into this huge scandal in LA with this past Playboy playmate that overdosed and passed away, and a whole bunch of stuff. And then he is the one, because he was hanging out with G-Eazy and Machine Gun Kelly and all those guys, because he was it starts Warlock. What's the name of that club?
Warwick.
He was like the promoter, part owner of Warwick. And then that shit all went sideways for him. And yeah, it's so funny though, because I tell people, I'm like, I think that kid, I knew him when he was a kid following Barry around. There was a episode of oh my God, I can't Yam Report with Miss Rara. She used to be on that, and
yeah.
And I think it was the kid Barry that choked him out on that podcast, or it wasn't a podcast; it was an MMA show back in those days.
Yeah. Miss Rara was the Eileen chick, right?
This is Keith KO Kid Barry, middleweight champ, King of the Cage, and you're watching the stream.tv. You're not gonna get hurt.
Oh my God, this is crazy. I'm scared. Okay. I can't believe I'm right here. No.
Take a deep breath. Out.
Are you recording? Okay, this is some crazy shit.
Tap. No! Wake up, buddy.
Oh, shit.
He's okay.
God.
He's okay. Oh, dude, where the did I go, dude?
Oh my God, that was some crazy ass shit.
Oh, you blocked me out.
Oh my God, I can't believe I just watched that. That is some crazy ass shit. Oh,
Deep breath in.
everybody's saying goodbye, Brian.
On behalf of Yak and Jay, we have possibly the greatest producer in Hollywood. You'll never see Spielberg do this.
Oh, he's out.
Wake up.
Whoa!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Dude, I had no idea what the was going on.
Hey.
No, Miss Rara is the Asian chick.
Yeah, her real name is Eileen.
Oh, is it really?
I think so. I'm almost
what's
positive.
funny is I actually I don't even know what her real name is. I'm still friends with her. I just call her Miss Rara.
Yeah, I think it's Eileen.
And
I'm almost positive it's the same.
And Miss Rara, for those of you that don't know, she came up through the underground, which was the UG, which was back in the day. People would talk about MMA. If you didn't know what the UG was, you were like, yeah, you don't know shit about MMA, because everybody was on the UG. The underground. It was a forum that was on. It was just the underground forum. Yeah. But it was kind of a secret. It was an industry secret, because all of the fighters, the actual fighters, was on there. Dana White was on there, and everybody.
Tito would go on there. I remember I'd go over there and go, "Hey, bro, let's go jog." And he's like, "Hold on, I'm talking to my fans." And this is like the 90s.
And
I'm like, "Dude, you got fans?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm talking to people right now." I'm like, "Oh, that's fucking cool, dude. All right, let's go run." And he's like, yeah, no, we're going to sell him shirts. And I'm like, oh, okay, good idea.
And
it was a great idea. I mean, at one point he was making $1 million a year or so.
For his team Punishment did great back in the day.
Yeah.
And anyway, Miss Rah Rah was Dave Navarro, not Dave Navarro.
David Copperfield.
No, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
What's his name?
Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo. Fuck,
Jesus Christ, man, my mind is going.
Fucking the monster. Brought to you by a Monster Energy.
So Eddie Bravo came out on the UG and said, "Hey guys, you don't know this, but there's like this hot chick that's like stalking the board, and she's lurking." And then that's how Miss Rah Rah came about on the UG, was through Eddie Bravo.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I saw her; she's having some health issues. So
that sucks.
Yeah. So Miss Rah Rah, we all still think about you even today, and we all still talk about you. She ended up being like a big thing in the industry there for a while, and then she just kind of went back to Stockton, I think, or wherever she's at, NorCal.
Yeah, I mean that time, people, everybody was trying to come up with T-shirt companies and you know this and that. So it really was the wild, wild west.
Yeah, it was.
I've been fortunate enough to speak at the Marshall School of Business at USC a couple times, and it was starting a new business and a new industry segment. So that was what my whole talk. So I'm sitting in a room with a guy where the guy who started Google went to school for, and they're like, all right, they put my highlight video up there, and they're like, how'd you? So I said, hey, I use the platform MySpace, which was, people were like, yeah, using that platform. Then that helped push it with the videos and everything else. But they're like, well, how did you know what the market price was? I said, well, I just knew without looking that if I was going to put a commercial on TV and I was fighting on TV, that's going to be expensive.
Right.
So if you want your stuff on TV more prominent on my chest or my shorts, the more expensive it's going to be. And it started out like $2,500, and then it was $5,000. It was like, hey, you want to be on my shirts, $10,000, and people were paying it.
Right.
At some point, though, they ended up wrapping that whole thing up, and now you can't wear sponsors. Different organizations.
The UFC, which is I hated that though, because I thought it was
there's
so
a lot of guys
detrimental. It's so detrimental to the fighters, because I know, because when you were with Pav and MMA agents, we used to sell sponsorships for the fighters. That's what GT basically would negotiate a lot of that stuff, and Pav would
still talk to GT.
Yeah, I do too. He's in Florida, and so
is he in Florida or is he in like Texas?
Did he move to Texas?
I don't know. I forgot where
he's in Florida.
Somewhere.
He was in Florida. I know he's in Florida. Yeah, he was in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's still there, if memory serves me right.
Just stay away from those lakes there.
Yeah, the alligators will drag you in. Yeah. I can't believe he moved to Florida, because he was such a HB guy too, and then he just got married and peaced out.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to HB lately, you can kind of see why, though.
Yeah.
I got the tattoo, though, so I can't move.
Right.
Because it'd just be weird to like tattoo over it. So
then you'd be like me. I have a South Bay tattoo, and
now
I'm a Huntington Beach
resident. Now you're an HB.
We're going to tattoo over it soon. So.
You guys have got enough.
Oh, man.
You guys have enough tattoos that nobody could find the HB tattoo anyway.
I've got a lot of room left.
Yeah, I have embarrassing bare spots on my legs.
On your leg. You got your whole back and everything done, didn't you?
Yeah. Franco Vescovi is my guy.
Right on.
And he's my guy, and the best part is I never knew like he is the guy. He was just my tattoo guy, but he's like a triple OG in the tattoo world. So during quarantine, dude, the guy's such a stud. He's such a stud. He reached out, was like, hey man, I want to finish up your back piece. And it had been like years since I had chatted with him, because I was always traveling, and he was always traveling because his company got huge. He invented Bishop Rotary, and it's basically the wand, which is if you're in a tattoo. Right. All these guys before had to be plugged in to the wall, to an outlet. So what happens is they're stuck in an outlet like this in these weird obscure positions.
Oh, so it's wireless now?
So it's wireless, has a battery pack, and it's really light.
Wow.
And
so
quiet.
it's quiet. So it's like, so bro.
So no wonder tattooing has evolved to where it is now.
Well, the whole industry, because I'm there twice a week now at Bishop and Vatican Tattoo, because what happens is now kids, there was a whole apprenticeship to be a tattoo guy. And I grew up in that because there was HB Tattoo.
Yeah.
And that was down the street in Huntington Beach. So I'd hang out there in high school.
Right.
I was like, I didn't have any tattoos at the time. My buddy started tattooing. But the guys there were the apprentice, and those dudes had to go through some shit.
Right.
And
it's like jiu-jitsu almost.
Oh, bro, it was worse. It's like a hazing.
Yeah.
Hey, go get my needles.
Right.
Hey, go get me food, bitch. Like they do stuff like that. And I was like, damn. And now all those guys from that all have tattoo shops in Huntington Beach. Yeah. Their own thing. They're all tatted. I just saw one. That's who. One of those guys is the one who made that video. You asked who shot that video of you walking down the pier yesterday.
Oh yeah.
So all those guys are still my boys.
Now I got the answer.
Now they're all triple OG tattoo guys who have their own.
And you remember when they were apprenticing?
Yeah, and it's funny because the whole industry has changed now. Guys aren't doing apprenticeship. They're looking online on YouTube and buying a gun
and
directly
practicing,
and doing it on their friends
until they get good enough.
It's weird too because it's like iPad tattooers now. Like I got stuff and you go people freehand it or whatever or stencil it. Now it's like they take an iPad and mock it up and then they print it directly from the internet and then they put it there and then they just shade it in. So it's like you're not actually drawing. I feel like
tattooing.
No.
Well, and there's
it is.
I mean, there's guys getting like they're taking anesthesia, passing out, and then getting full back pieces. And it's like
the numbing cream.
One setting. Yeah.
Well, back in the day, it was like a right. Hey man,
it's a rite of passage.
Now people do it on their first tattoo is their face or neck, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, dude. People that have face or neck tattoos are dudes like in prison.
Yeah.
Now it's like Machine Gun Kelly. It's like these random dudes.
Right. It looks like notebook scribbles
Post
from
Malone.
middle school.
Yeah,
it's
so it's interesting how it's cool because I have tattoos and I enjoy it. To me, it was like therapy, right? You're getting a tattoo. It does not feel good if anybody's wondering. My kids are always like, Dad, I'm like, dude, it hurts so bad and it's expensive, guys. You know, definitely don't want tattoos. So that being said, it's like nowadays people think it's like the cool thing to do, or maybe they do, maybe they don't, but the way it's being delivered now, it's really interesting, but the industry is kind of getting a hit with it.
I remember when I was a kid, which was ancient times, like if I saw somebody with tattoos, we're like, oh wow, he's probably just got out of prison.
Right.
Hey Dad, that guy's got tattoos. You know, he'd have like one fucking little eagle on his arm, you know, like, oh wow, that guy's got a tattoo.
He must have killed somebody.
Yeah, he must have killed somebody. You think he's a Hell's Angel?
Definitely.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And now you walk around California and everybody's got tattoos.
That's
true.
It's
funny how it's changed.
And tattoos are expensive.
Yeah, they're super expensive. Shout out to my bro Brent Boehm. He's like right behind this building. He's a really good tattoo artist.
Nice.
Yeah. And I actually saw him yesterday walking by the tattoo shop to get me a teriyaki the teriyaki express over there.
Come on, bro.
Do you have any tattoos?
I don't.
See,
which is so.
You are the rare breed.
Well,
I honestly think that in this day and age, it's like probably cooler to be a bear slate.
Well, it's funny because I always wanted them, but I'm a bitch. I have a phobia of needles. So I was always, because anytime I go in and get my blood taken, I tell them, like I went and got my, you know, I'm fucking old as shit now, so I had to go get my my doctor visit, you know, because I hadn't done it in like 10 years, and I'm like, I should probably do that. So I went in to see, you know, how my health was, and what do they call that? Your general. And I told
your annual physical.
Yeah, my annual physical. I hadn't done it in like 10 years. Supposed to do it like every year or every 2 years or something like that. And I'd done it 10. It may have been longer than that. I can't even remember the last time. So I went in to get it, and I told the doctor, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we want to take your blood." And I'm like, "I don't really want to do that." They're like, "No, you need to do it because we really have to check and see where your potassium and all that shit." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." I was like, "Just letting you know, I'll probably pass out."
Did you pass out?
And the doctor, you know, he's like, "Oh yeah," he was like a, I don't know, he was like I don't know what he was, Bolivian or something. He's, "Oh yeah, you'll be okay. It's no big deal. You'll be good. I have a nurse to take care of you." I'm like, "Okay, dude, all right, good." This is over in Hollywood. Actually, I was in Hollywood, and so the nurse comes in, and she's like, whatever he is, Bolivian too. I was like, "Just to let you know, like, there's a possibility I don't like needles and I might faint or pass out." She's like, "Oh yeah, okay, you'll be fine. You'll feel nothing. You'll feel nothing." It's like, okay. So I sat there. I was like,
passed out.
Yeah, I was like,
did you watch her do it, or did you just
no? I looked away, dude. I completely looked away, and I barely even felt a pinch. I just barely even felt a pinch. And then sure enough, like I was like. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh, dude, I'm going to tough this out. I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to pass out. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I really barely felt it. I mean, it felt just I just barely felt the needle.
I did blood work on Tuesday.
I just did my blood work
and
too.
so I was like, I think I'm going to be okay this time. I'm thinking, And I started, it's weird because it's like, it just washes over me. It's like,
It's like getting choked out or something.
a little bit. Yeah. It's like, I'm sitting there and then all of a sudden I just feel my forehead start sweating. And then it's just like, I get this wash feeling of like complete weakness all over, and everything just kind of, the lights just start dimming. So it's a little bit like getting choked out.
I'm the opposite. We just had blood work done just a couple days ago, and I was in there and I
You're like, yeah, do it.
No, I watched her put it in, and I was like, oh, how many you have to do? And she like puts the thing in, and it's squirting. I was like, oh my gosh, if you like pulled that thing out, this would like squirt all the way across the room, huh? And she looked at me so weird, like no one had ever said that before. But I mean, I was impressed with like the bloodstream.
Again, that's what she said.
I just think it's cool. I don't know. Like, wow.
So anyway,
she's setting me up for this.
They came in with like some smelling salt, and stuff. And
no way.
And so the doctor was cool because like I'd had this happen to me before, and but it's funny because when you start passing out, they all start scrambling around like like it's a medical emergency.
They don't want you to like hit their head.
Yeah, and so like they're grabbing me and stuff, and then like they're all running around, and the nurse is fanning me, and like I'm still like sitting there, and the doctor actually when I went in to do my labs and stuff, he goes, there's actually a name for that. I didn't know it. There's a medical term for people that can't get their blood taken.
Oh, wow.
It's called something that you just, I never knew that. I thought it was just because I was a bitch, you know what I mean? But there's actually a term for it.
Hemophiliac or something?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly like, and so I was like, oh, well, that's good to know. So I can let them know, like, hey, I've got that thing, like, when you stick a needle in my arm, and like, it shuts out the lights.
Yeah, speaking of that, dude, I didn't realize as you get older, your nerves change.
Totally.
So my tattoo guy was like, hey, let's finish up your back. And I'm like, yeah, dude. Well, it was like a piece, but I wanted to tie the whole thing together.
Mm-hmm.
So my back piece was going to be gigantic and cover my entire back. He starts, right? He does the outline, and I'm holding onto the chair. And normally I just do that for a while, and then I fall asleep. Yeah. Or I just be like, all right, yeah, on the radio, we're done. He started, I'm holding onto the chair, and he's like, oh, and he goes, yeah, how's that feel? I was like little kitties licking me. Fuck, dude, that kind of hurts. And he goes, yeah, dude, back sucks. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me that when I said I wanted to make a huge back piece? He's like, well, so.
Small price to pay for an awesome tattoo
that
lasts the rest of your life.
Yeah, so I mean.
The nerves do change, though. I have my whole leg done, and in the center of my kneecap, I have this huge Hanya mask, and it's just the outline. And it's going to be the very last thing that I fill in because it hurts so bad. And I'm the type of person where I'm super chatty, like the whole time I'm getting tattooed. I'm all blah, 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 blah. He started doing my knee, and then he started laughing. He was like,
you got real quiet.
He's all like, you're real quiet now, huh? And I was like, yeah, this is
very painful.
Yeah, I'm still it's going to take me 10 years to finish because it's not fun. But I won't do the numbing cream. I just feel like it's a cop out.
Yeah, when I was running around,
earn that. You got to earn it.
When I was running around in Huntington Beach with all these guys, they all had tattoos, and I felt like a bitch because I didn't have any tattoos, and I wanted them. I've always wanted them, but the other reason I never got them is because like there was certain things I wanted to do, and then the trend changed. Yeah. Like I like just the black ink like that, like I see like I remember the first time I saw Joe Rogan in person, and I didn't know he had sleeves. Back in the day before he was even a popular podcaster. Yeah. We saw him at one of Ryan Bennett's things that Ryan, God bless him, he passed away years ago. But
all right, ladies and gentlemen, the world famous. What? But you're superstar, man. You're big time, man. Joe Rogan hanging out.
It's an illusion.
Whatever, man. Hey, let's talk about. Okay, well, first off, we'll tell you, we're taping this actually right after the Chuck Liddell Vitor Belfort fight. Wow.
That's a perfect description. Wow, fantastic fight.
How did you call that? How did you see that? Some of the fans said it was a lot closer than the 30-27 judges' decision. What do you think?
Those people were in the bleeder seats. No, it was Chuck Liddell. I think Vitor probably won the first round, but it was close. Chuck won the last two rounds. He won the third round pretty big. And Chuck clearly was pressing the fight. Chuck it looked to me that he was in better shape, and he had that in his mind before this fight. He didn't think that Vitor was in shape to go 3 hard rounds.
Great fight indeed. And you know what's interesting? All these guys tonight really put on a show. And we've seen that the last few UFCs, all these guys are really coming to fight now. I think that nervousness kind of stuff of not wanting to lose has kind of hit the high side. What's your take on the sport? How is it growing and being on Fox television and everything?
Well, you know what? You know me. I think it's the most exciting sport in the world. I don't think there's a sport that even comes close. I don't even like other sports. You know, I don't watch football. I think if they're real men, they take the helmets off. You know, just throw down. What's this chasing after a ball? That's stupid, man. You know, golf. I don't like anything else but fighting, literally. And boxing's okay if there's no UFC on. Like I'm gonna go see Barrera and Morales now. I don't even care. I just saw Vitor and Chuck. Barrera and Morales. They could do a mariachi in the ring and fart into a hat. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I just saw what I want to see. I just saw what is most exciting to me, mixed martial arts. It's the greatest sport in the world.
You got an internet site, do you? Is that correct? Let's plug it, baby.
JoeRogan.net, but don't go there if you're at work or if the little kids are around because I'm a dirty boy.
Finally, Fear Factor has been such a huge hit. Are you surprised how big this has been for you?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be canceled immediately. I didn't think it was going to last. You can ask all my friends. I go, I'm doing this goofy show. They're attacking people with dogs. It ain't going to last. The government's going to close it down. I did not think it was going to last, but luckily it has, and making assloads of cash.
Yeah, exactly. Big time, baby. He's making it. Hey,
this is the truth. There's no big time. There's no celebrity. I'm just a regular dude.
I will say this: he is a regular guy. He's still making a ton of bling bling, but that's why
Aniston still takes stinky dumps. Don't ever forget that. Stinky, nasty dumps. Don't ever forget it.
I think that's a good place to end.
That's the first time I ever saw Joe Rogan in person. He had sleeves, and his are like those old school kind of Japanese with all the color in it. I was like, dude, that's so cool. I don't like them now. I see them now, and they're so faded and they've kind of bled together.
The color's really hard to hold on to.
Yeah,
I was like this punk rock chick growing up in high school, and so I have all these punk rock bands tattooed on me. I have like the Misfits skull and Black Flag bars.
But those are still cool.
But I don't regret any of my tattoos because it's something that was like a piece of me, you know?
Yeah, like mine, I was like, things I wanted to get was like a Longhorn and shit, because I used to be like a big Longhorn, Texas Longhorn fan. I think to myself, oh my god, dude, I am so glad. I wanted to get like big. I wanted to get like the skull, the Longhorn tattoo, like the horns going across here.
That would have hurt.
And I saw a dude, I saw a dude on TV at one of the Longhorn games back when when USC played the Longhorns and Longhorns won here at the Sugar Bowl. Remember that? Whenever that was.
I watched college football for a very short stint of time. Troy Aikman played for UCLA. Rodney Pete played for USC.
Yeah,
that's when I watched college football.
and so I was.
Was that the 80s? That was the 80s.
Yeah, it was the 80s. Yeah, that was.
Jesus Christ, she wasn't born yet.
Yeah,
I was born in '88.
Yeah, because it was during the 90s. It was during the 90s that Cowboys won all their Super Bowls, and right? Troy Aikman was the quarterback, and that was like
oh my God.
94, 95, something like that. Yeah. But anyway, I'll never forget, dude. I saw like this dude like on television. He was like, the dudes in the stands, and then I saw like
tattoo.
I saw four or five dudes that had like girls or something like draw the Longhorn on them. You know what I mean? So they had like just a drawing or like airbrushed, or I don't know how they did it with shoe polish or some shit, you know what I mean? But it looked pretty cool. And then they're going through, and then in the middle, like this one dude had it tattooed on his chest. I was like, oh bro, that's so cool. I got to get one of those. I even told my wife, I was like, come look at this guy's tattoo. They're gonna show him again. And then I was like, and now I think back to myself, I'm like, God, man, I'm so glad. Glad.
I go, hey bro, tattoo an American flag on my arm. He's like, nope, not doing it. I was like, no, bro, I'm gonna pay you. He's like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm like, all right, but then put the devil on my arm. He's like, nope, not doing
that either.
He's like, bro, what if you find God? I'm like, I'm not fucking looking for God, dude. Yeah. I'm like, I'll find someone else to do it. He's like, okay, I'll do like I literally have the tattoo, but he's like, it's not the devil. Tattoo. It's like, it's a picture of it's like a Japanese thing. I was like, all right, cool.
I like it.
I'm like, well, it looks like a leprechaun.
That's actually cool though.
Who's mad, holding his breath. I'll just go with that one. He's like, I'm not doing it, bro.
It's a really good tattoo artist though, because most of them just want the money. They'll just.
Oh yeah, no, he's my boy. He's my boy.
This pops so hard. And how old is that tattoo?
Couple decades.
Yeah, that's crazy. My tattoos that are like the ink.
Yeah, that's really helped.
Didn't stay like that.
I use Inky's products.
Yeah, their stuff's really good.
Pre and post care, tattoo
and sun care, preventative.
Yeah, that's post.
We're getting ready to wrap this thing up. I just wanted to say that it's really good to see because the last thing I wanted to close on is so many of our friends, so many of the MMA fighters that we've known have just, their lives have just spiraled into chaos. You know, I see them like talk about Mayhem Miller. Dude, I used to hang out with that dude in HB, and he was such a cool guy to me all the time. And, you know, and then War Machine was another one.
Yeah.
And then I remember him at the this golf thing that Paul put together for Ryan Bennett was like one of the last times I saw him. And then crazy ass Phil Baroni, dude. Like, is Ken still talking to Phil?
Do you know what happened to him or no?
In Mexico, yeah. I know exactly what happened. Like, I guess he like had like he always had a temper, dude. I saw it. Yeah. And, you know, he went south on his girlfriend, I guess, Mexican girlfriend down there. And now he is in jail in Mexico and has been there for quite some time and will probably be there for who knows.
Yeah. Not good. Not good. Yeah. You know what, speaking of War Machine too, I got cut out of my contract. I'm looking for other fights. My manager goes, "Hey bro, we'll get you a fight at Tachi Palace." I've already fought. It was
against War Machine, right?
No, it wasn't. We never fought. We were a different weight class. But it was War Machine was in we're at a cut weight. So I go to this obscure Tachi Palace, probably in Lemoore, California, hotel and hotel gym. So I go there. I walk in. I lose a couple pounds, and John Alessio's there. John Alessio fought in the UFC. Was a stud. I trained with him at Extreme Couture, like probably a year or two prior to that, and War Machine. And so we're all sitting there. War Machine was in the UFC, and we're all cutting weight. And it was this really eerie, hey dude, we're at the top of our sport, and now we're trying to build it back. But like I'm 30 something now. And I'm looking at, and I'm like, okay. And I just watched that movie too. The whatever it was called. Yeah, the wrestler. So it was another one of those like, hey moments. Dude, am I going to be this guy?
I just want to tell you, I'm the one who was supposed to take care of everything. I'm the one who was supposed to make everything okay for everybody. But it just didn't work out like that. And I left. I left you. You never did anything wrong. You know? I used to try to forget about you. I used to try to pretend that you didn't exist. But I can't. You're my girl. You're my little girl. And now I'm an old broken down piece of meat. And I'm alone. And I deserve to be all alone. I just don't want you to hate me. Okay?
Because I had, you're the champ, dude. You get your own dressing room. You got lights in there. They're walking, doing interviews. They're giving you multiple plane tickets and rooms. And now I'm in this Indian casino and this really small thing. And it's with a couple other guys who
and War Machine. It was in the UFC. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with John. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right. I mean, John Alessio now, he's a police officer in Las Vegas from my understanding. I still follow him. He's got a family, super cool. War Machine, you got, his whole criminal thing, and he's in jail. So it's unfortunate. I don't know, man. To be a mixed martial artist, to be a professional athlete, you have to be cocky.
A little crazy, yeah.
Yeah, you got to be crazy. You got to be cocky, especially if you're going to do a hand-to-hand combat with somebody. But you got to be able to control that. And I look back and I think to myself, you know what? Like a lot of this stuff, I think, hey, dude, had I had more of a male role model, a figure that was like, hey, dude, put your head out of your ass, that I respected, probably would have helped me shape a career a little bit better. Not that I think I did well, and I'm still enjoying what I did. But I look at some of these other guys, and I'm like, man, that sucks. Like I know War Machine's story, both of his, his side, everyone else's side. There's always three sides to the story. But I knew his backstory. Like his dad died in front of him when he was like 9 or 10, and So I mean, that's horrible and
Yeah.
stuff, and that's extremely traumatic. So you start to think like that. It's like, oh man, dude. So yeah, I mean,
it's funny because when I saw him at the first time I met him was at the Ryan Bennett charity golf tournament when Ryan first passed away. It was because he was a kid, but I think he was in the UFC already then. But it was so funny because like he was very quiet and very shy. He was very alpha male-ish, you know what I mean? Like, but there was like several like of the little golf girls that get hired to work the, you know, those events and stuff, and they were just all like giddy around him, and he was just like a little like, it was like funny. It was like he was like a kind of a shy kid, like, you know, like, do I want to smash bitches or do I want to like just like be chill? You know what I mean? It's kind of funny, like, because what I'm getting at is his persona was completely different than what you saw like when he was like, you know, kind of a Conor McGregor thing. When
right. It seemed like it's a show kind of.
Conor,
like,
when
right.
people that don't know this, when Conor first came into the UFC or before he got into the UFC, you can actually dig up some interviews of him before. Like he was bald, he shaved his head bald, and he was like so quiet, so polite, you know, very polite and stuff. And then he figured it out. Like, dude, I'm gonna.
You'll be that guy that they want to watch.
Yep.
You either want to watch him win or watch him lose.
Exactly.
But you want to watch him.
Just like Jake Paul. Jake Paul's the name. I think Jake Paul took his formula and put it as a YouTuber, put it together. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Jake Paul.
Never would have thought it that would have.
Who do you got? You got Jake Paul. You got Mike Tyson.
Dude, have you seen the rules? They're ridiculous.
Oh no!
They can tag team.
Are they wearing headgear?
Logan and Jake are wearing headgear and can both tag team Mike Tyson at the same time if they want.
No, what?
Yeah, that's part of the rules.
This is entertainment.
And I don't believe that Mike Tyson's allowed to hit him in the head.
And no knockout shots. I think it said there.
What do you mean they could tag team?
They could both fight him at the same time, from my understanding.
I thought this was just like a
exhibition
boxing match.
That's how you get around the commission and everything else. Well, will I think they do that? Maybe not. So
that'll be interesting because I see if you see Mike hitting pads and stuff, dude, he's like,
he is
bro,
such a stud.
Brutal.
He fought
He's such a stud.
he's
Evander Holyfield not that long ago.
Well, no, not Evander. He fought.
He's in amazing shape too.
Yeah, but it was funny because he didn't put those combos together during that fight like he was. But it was an exhibition, so I know he wasn't going all out. It's kind of like 70%.
Yeah.
Which is still a lot.
Yeah, it's still a lot.
70% is quite
70% is a lot for.
If you're going above 50%, you're
It's different
especially
if you're like a jiu-jitsu person. What
Right.
70% is compared to like on your feet, hitting, kicking.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. It's sometimes I think back about it. It's funny like how far like MMA has. I mean, it's like
it's totally different.
It's just like football or NFL or everybody knows something about it these days. But I remember sitting in bars and trying to explain to people what MMA was. They're like, "What?" It's like it's that human cockfighting thing. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Do you guys think that it's almost kind of gone full circle? Because what MMA started, it was like, oh, well, who's the best? We're going to put this boxer guy against this jiu-jitsu guy. And what are we doing now? It's like, oh, we're going to have this MMA guy fight with this boxer, but they're only going to box. It's almost like it's evolved so much that it's going.
Well, that's what everybody wanted to see because back in the days, it wasn't mixed. So everybody wanted to see like a karate guy against a judo guy or, see which, because back in the day, it was like everybody was, even as kids, we were like, you were all in your camp on what you thought was the best. So if Rob was like a Muay Thai guy, he's like, oh, a Muay Thai guy can beat a karate guy any day. So everybody had their little like lines in the sand on what we thought was the best.
That's what got me to come from being a stand-up guy to wanting to be able to do it all. And they didn't even call it mixed martial arts. There was no holds barred at the time or no rules fighting.
Right.
But every gym I was at, and this is in the 90s, Tito's there, and we got people coming to train. I'm doing stand-up, purely stand-up. I wrestled in like 6th grade, so I have a little bit of grappling, but and I don't think I ever even won a match. It was the best part.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is people don't realize this because you were always known as a striker, but you have actually a really good ground game.
Well, thank you. I'm a professor of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now. That's what she said. Thank you.
You're a black belt now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a professor of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt.
And you were, I think we were living together. You were brown belt.
No, bro, I was a blue belt.
Oh, you're blue belt.
Entire fight career.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Only because I made that.
Well, you just wouldn't go in training under one guy.
Yeah, I didn't.
Belt.
Yeah, I didn't train in the gi all the time because I was like, I'm not gonna fight in the gi, so I don't need to wear a gi. But I trained jiu-jitsu only because I didn't want to get stuck in moves. And I didn't my entire fight career until my last fight. And that's when I was like, all right, dude, I'm either going to go all back in and try to get for the belt and do this. And that's how my mindset is. I'm all in, or I'm like, hey dude, I need to like, I got a family to raise, I got bills to pay. And it was kind of an ugly way that they did it too, Dream. They were like, yeah, you're not fighting. Oh, you might fight. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, like, is that what you're gonna do? And apparently that's what they did with this recently with what's his name? The guy who was just gonna fight Aoki, the guy I fought.
Pitbull?
No, what's the kid's name?
I'm trying to think of it right now too.
I
don't remember.
Oh god.
Was it Wonder Boy?
No, not the other one. What's his name? He's super jacked. He's 55er.
Sorry.
Anyways.
So lightweight?
Yeah, they did mess with this. Overseas have been really notorious. They fly you in a couple of days before, so that like by the time jet lag hits you,
there's no testing either.
Yeah, there's no testing. You're like, but they fly you in a couple of days before.
Yeah, so you're still jet lagged.
You're jet lagged. And you're like or they would call your room.
Well, even Pride did that though. Too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why
I've always done that.
So it was like notorious for them doing stuff. So that's when it was like it was a realization of, hey, my financial future is no longer in my hands. It's in my manager's hands, and I didn't feel he was doing a very good job with it.
Was that Pav?
Yeah. So at some point we separated, and then I didn't break ties with the guy, but I was just like, hey dude, I'm going a different direction, and I started doing corporate America, and I learned a lot of cool, valuable tools, and met a great network of people, including my wife. So it was the uncertainty of, hey, I have to feed people, and I got to make sure that I have bills that I can pay, and not like, hey, it's fun. So to me, it was like, I loved fighting. I didn't do it for money. I did it because I loved, and I wanted to be the best. And it go back to what we were talking about. Walking into the gym, it was the grapplers sat in one corner. And when I say grapplers, they're like the wrestler guys with their dirty shoes and knee pads. And then you got the jiu-jitsu guys.
Everybody hates.
Everybody, yeah. And then you got the jiu-jitsu guys over there with the gis on that speaking Portuguese, even if they're not Portuguese or Brazilian.
That think they're the best dudes in the gym.
And they're the most fanciest business guys ever. And then you got the striker guys who are like, I'll knock those dudes out. So everybody, and I was like, and I could kind of float in between that whole crowd, but everybody you knew thought they're like, okay. And I was like, I want to be able to bang with all these dudes. I want to be able to roll with this guy. I want to be able to wrestle with that dude. I want to be able to like use my kicks and punches if I have to. And so that was really enticing to getting into mixed martial arts, was because I wanted to prove that I could be the best. And it was, you're literally, no pun intended, the ultimate athlete. Right. You got to be fast. You got to be quick. You got to be mobile.
And the crazy thing is, these kids coming up nowadays, they're coming up doing it. Which,
from like the age of 3,
which is going to be can you imagine so when they're all grown and it's going to be insane.
I was season 14 Ultimate Fighter. They had to fight to get in the house. There's 30 guys. I'm on Bisbing's team as a striking coach. We come in, and the first night they got to fight each other to who's going to pick teams. So no one's on our team yet, and there's a guy, and I said, hey dude, they're sitting in the room. I go, all right, well, what are you good at, dude? We can corner each other, but I need to know what you're good at, so I have an idea. And he goes, MMA. Okay, dude. Yeah, we're in the UFC. But like, are you a grappler? They wrestle, or who you train with? And he goes, well, yeah, I went to wherever he went to. He went to college wrestling. I trained with Uriah. And I go, okay, so why don't you say that, dude? And he goes, well, MMA. And I'm like, oh fuck, it was TJ Dillashaw.
Oh wow.
And it didn't dawn on me till I watched him in the practice room. He had his hands wrapped, so I'm like, oh, he looks like a boxer. And he's moving around, and then he starts taking shots, and I'm like, okay, he can throw and he could do takedowns. Then he starts doing jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, dude, he's like hanging with these dudes that are good black belt guys, and I'm like, oh, this is the future. Yep. He was dead serious. He looked at me
when
like
he said
stupid.
MMA.
When he was like, MMA, dude. Yeah. And I'm like, no, but like, oh, I'm the old dude now. That's not like the striker guy. It's like, oh, okay. And then even watching him train, like he's doing snatches with the bar. He's swinging the kettlebell, and I'm like, oh, that's why he was there. He's the beginning. Curve went so fast. Yeah. Like it took a long time for I think the NFL to get there. Like the sport is, and I think it's because popularity of the internet. Right now, guys are setting. I think I read this book called The Rise of Superman, and it was unlocking human potential. And so I thought it was really interesting. But the rise of Superman was because Tony Hawk was the dude. Right. He skated a half pipe and he did a flip. Well, the internet came out, and it was like, that guy who we don't know just did a flip, but he did 2 flips, and the next thing you know, they're doing 900s, and it was because of the internet that it kind of drove.
And everybody's saying it, other people trying it.
Yeah. So now everyone's like, hey, dude, I can do this. I can fight someone in the cage, and I'll sub him, and this time I'll kick him in the head, and then I'll run a little bit further, and I'll be more explosive, and the science too behind training has developed exponentially.
I remember literally back when the UFC you know, there would be like when Tito was like, I think Tito was still the champion. There'd be like a UFC like every 4 months. You'd have to wait till the next card would come up. And I remember being in Dallas and thinking, man, this thing's going to be huge one of these days, and trying to talk to people in Dallas about it. And they're all about college football. And they're like, what is it again? Oh, boxing. Yeah. No, this isn't boxing. Oh yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah. WWF.
And then when I met Pav and I moved out to California and I'm hanging out with you, and I still remember being and just thinking, man, one day this sport is going to, everybody's going to know what it is. And the funny thing is I look back now, and that was for me, that was the best time for MMA, because it was like this little underground club that nobody was a part of. And if you were a part of it, it was like this cool kids camp. You know what I mean? It's like, you're like, yeah, you know, or if you knew what it was. And now it's like, it's so like, there's so much of it. Like I remember a time when I could say I've seen every single UFC event. I've seen every single one of them.
Yeah.
I've seen every single UFC event, and I know every single UFC fighter. And I even know probably about 40 to 60% of the Pride roster. You know, I just see guys getting the K. I know exactly who that is, even if they switched promotions. You know, like sometimes you'd have somebody from Dream or Pride, they'd go fight in some different organization, not the UFC, but it would be like some other organization like WFA or something. They'd be like, oh, I know who he was in Pride. Oh no, he's still in Pride. He's just like they loaned him out.
Nowadays it's all over the place.
Yeah, it's all over the place, and it's just like to see where MMA is today, and it's like, for me, it's kind of it's not lost its luster, but it's just so mainstream that it's not as cool to me as it used to be.
I think some of the best fights and the best days were those brawls, and that doesn't really exist anymore because it's evolved so much. Everybody's so technical so good at everything. It doesn't really matter. Like the fighters that just had so much heart and they're just getting hit so hard. Now everyone has like really good head movement.
Like with Diego Sanchez,
it's almost too pretty, but it's still.
Yeah, I mean,
did you see what's going on with him?
Favorite times.
No.
Dude, like
CTE stuff or what?
Well, CTE stuff, and so there's this. I just saw a video yesterday. So there's like this. I can't remember what this fucking kid's name is. This guru kid that like got in his ear. Did you hear about this?
No, I don't think.
I saw it initially, maybe like maybe 3 years ago. I don't know the time frame or the timeline on this, but I saw like they were saying, you know, oh, Diego's gonna ruin this dude's gonna ruin Diego's career. This kid is like, he's like 5'4" or something like that, and he like bills himself as like this Jesus dude, and he got into Diego's head, and because of Diego's
I kind of heard stuff about this,
so he's like became like Diego's spiritual leader and all of this shit, and so Diego basically like cut ties with everybody he knew. And then so there's a brand new video I just saw yesterday that Diego's family did an intervention. They went to his house and said, you're cutting this dude loose, because this fucking guy was taking content of Diego, and he started an OnlyFans page with Diego's stuff. Yeah, so I mean, there was nothing. I don't think there was anything naked on it, but like it would be like Diego, like when he's rolling and stuff. Yeah, you know, and like it was showing like Diego's ass up in the air, you know, and stuff. But he's rolling, and this dude like starts an OnlyFans page, pretending to be Diego. This rabbit hole is deep, dude. I haven't dived all the way into it because it's like. But anyway, there's a video yesterday of this dude coming in with one of those corporate checkbooks. Remember the old checkbooks, the big book, you know, if you had a company, you'd open it up and it'd be like 4 checks. He comes in with one of those and sits it down in front of Diego, and he goes, all right, dude, he goes, you've effed me over. You've ruined my life. We're no longer anything. We're done now. I just want you to know that because your mom's saying this stuff about me. So you've ruined my business and everything. So our contract is our contract and you and I as friends is null and void, and because of what you've done to my business, you're going to sign a check right now for $100,000, and you're going to pay me off, and you're going to pay me out because you've ruined my business and you've done everything. Diego did it.
He's filming it.
Signed. And the funny thing is the dude filmed this stuff, and that's absolutely that's absolutely 100% extortion.
Yeah.
It's against the law, and the dude filmed himself. So Dana's involved with this, and there's a bunch of people. It's a bunch of people getting involved with it, but it's just like, It's just one of
I'm
those.
really into those documentaries about cult leaders and cults and how people get so brainwashed and they're so far gone. And it's like one of those things that you just don't understand how it could happen until it happens to someone. But that sounds like it's a similar situation.
Diego had a
really
conversation. The dude like put the IM out or the DM out, and it's like Diego was talking about like this dude. He's like, dude, he came in and he like manipulated me. He's like a psychopath, and he like manipulated me with because what he would do is he started giving Diego like hallucinogens, like LSD, I guess, shroom, and then he would do that, and then
like the CIA,
right, and so
dun dun dun.
dun, dun. That's actually true. I didn't even think of that.
True.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
it's
how
mind
they
control.
There's a name for it.
MK
Ultra. That's exactly how they do it. It's a real thing.
That guy's a freak.
I remember when that was supposed to be a conspiracy theory.
Well, the whole MK Ultra thing, but I'm gonna be totally honest. In high school, my buddies and I couch surfed my entire high school career, like what it should have been 4 years, and all the places I stayed, their parents were like, "Yeah, you can stay here, dude." Or if they even had parents around, usually it was like single moms. They're like, "Yeah, you can stay here." We'd eat mushrooms and acid and stuff all the time. I'm sure that on one of those trips, I just convinced myself I was gonna be a pro fighter, and that was it. And I think I'm still on an acid trip as we're going because I'm just like, I can't believe I made this. I did it.
Right.
I did it. And I'm like, oh man.
Tap your full human potential.
Yeah, dude. What David Goggins says, you use 40% of your human potential. I think I tapped into most of it.
Yeah.
And it's like my old saying is like, what you think about, you bring about. You know what I mean? Like when you really think about it and you really, it's a whole manifestation of the universe thing.
100%, dude. I'm a living proof of it.
Say, I remember Oprah coming up and talking about, the Secret or whatever. I know Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan makes fun of it and stuff. But when I was a kid, I remember Smokey and the Bandit. I'm old as fuck, y'all.
No, I remember Smokey and the Bandit.
When Smokey and the Bandit came out, I thought that car was the coolest car I'd ever seen in my life. I was 7 years old, dude. I used to lay in my bed and dream. I used to lay in my bed and dream about, man, when I get a driver's license, I'm gonna get me a black Trans Am, just like
T-top,
just like Smokey and the Bandit.
I wanted a black Trans Am with T-top.
And the funny thing is
you got it.
It was my first car.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And
that's awesome.
My mom took me, we were shopping for a car, and I had like $3,500 to buy a car. This is back in the day. That was actually quite a bit of money for a used car.
Yeah.
And you got to think those old Oldsmobile, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there was like a Cutlass, like a 74 Cutlass 442 that used to have 442 on the door. And so it was in the newspaper. You used to have to look in the newspaper to find cars to buy a car. And so I was like, oh, this sounds cool. So my mom took me to go look at it. And we pull up to the house, and the guy wasn't there yet, but he's like, I'll be there in like 20 minutes. Or I'm going to be there like 20 minutes after you guys arrive. There weren't no cell phones in those days. So we're waiting on the guy, and I'm looking at the Cutlass, and it's like this cream color yellow, and it's just not like it's a cool car. And if I had it today, I'd be stoked.
Yeah.
But in those days, it was kind of a grandma car, but it was kind of a cool car. And I was thinking to myself, driving it into high school, like, nobody's going to and the dude pulls up in a 77 black Trans Am that owned the Cutlass. And so he gets out and he's showing me the Cutlass, and it had like a Pioneer stereo. That's the only thing I really liked about the Cutlass. It had a cool ass Pioneer stereo back in those days.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually interested in the stereo, but I can't give a shit about the car. It's got like that yellow felt velvety upholstery and stuff, and I'm just like, this is
that upholstery.
It's just not me, you know what I mean? And I can't look at the Cutlass because I'm just staring at the Trans Am behind it, because he pulled up behind it, and I'm just staring at the Trans Am, and he goes, I had like 4,500, that's what it was. He goes, how much do you have? He goes, I'll take 3,500 for it right now. And my mom goes, 3,500 for the Cutlass? And I was like, and she's like, 3,500. She goes, let me talk to her. She's like, that's a good deal. You'll still have like $1,000. You'll have money left over if you want to do something to it. I'm like, yeah. I'm just one ear out the other.
Totally.
And then we walk back up there. My mom's thinking I'm going to go, okay, yeah, I'll do it for 3,500. And I'm like, how much would you take for the Trans Am? Or how much do you want for the Trans Am? And the dude goes, what? I'm like, what about the Trans Am? If you had to sell the Trans Am, I was 14 years old, dude. He goes, how much do you want for the Trans? I said, how much do you want for the Trans Am? And he goes, oh, that's my car, dude. The car's not for sale. It's the Cutlass. I'm like, yeah, but if you were going to sell the Trans Am, how much would you take for the Trans Am? And he's like, well, I guess I could sell it. And he goes, I'd probably take 5,500 for it. I had 4,500.
Yeah.
So I looked at my mom and I was like, I want the Trans Am. And she goes, well, you don't have enough money for the Trans Am. I'm like, yeah, but if you loan me the money, the extra money, I'll have enough money for the Trans Am. Long story short, she loaned me like $1,500 or the extra 1,000 or whatever it was.
That's awesome.
She actually gave me $1,500 because I had to extra 1,000. I had to register and all that shit. So I ended up owing her $1,500. But I was working at a Southern Seas restaurant and roofing houses and shit.
That's awesome.
With no overhead.
With no overhead.
Yeah, exactly.
Living at home.
Yeah, stuff you don't realize until you get older.
Yeah,
like,
but I'll never forget. I'll never forget. I was driving that car, and I got it before I even had a driver's license. I was literally 14, and the way I got a car is because my mom had like this old Pinto, 72 Pinto, that the gas gauge didn't work. And because I had lived with my dad because they had divorced, and then I went to live with my mom in Lubbock. My mom worked all the time, so I had to get to school and stuff like that. And they had a thing in Texas called a hardship license. So you could get a hardship license at 14.
No
I
way.
mean, you could drive around. You could go to school. You're supposed to just go to school.
That's awesome.
Dude, I went everywhere.
You're like, yeah, I'm going to school. Like
That made you really independent.
It's midnight.
Can you
You're
imagine-
11:30.
Imagine like this day and age kid having to do any of that. They'd be so lost.
I actually had that happen. I'd get pulled over in that Trans Am, you know what I mean? And the cop would be like, I don't think you're going to school, are you, young man? And I'd be like, well, I had to go drop my friend off. My friend came over to study, and I had to take him home. And they'd be like, okay, well, just know when I was your age, I didn't even have a driver's license. So, but just don't let me catch you out here again. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And then it stopped me again 2 weeks later. I ended up getting in a high-speed chase with the cops in that car. Yeah. Yeah, when I was 15, dude, I ended up in LCYC, Lubbock County Youth Center, dude. And I'll never forget, I walked over to the door because we hadn't slept all night. I got arrested with this kid, my buddy Travis, who I'm still friends with. He'll watch this and he'll laugh. And this other kid named David Giggins. And his dad had been the former police chief of the Lubbock Police Department.
Oh, no.
And so they took us to LCYC, Lubbock County Youth Center, and we're all sitting there. And there'd been so many kids arrested that night that they didn't have any cells for us. So they just had us sitting in those little plastic, remember those orange and blue and yellow little plastic chairs you had like in school?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they had us handcuffed to doorknobs. And it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, dude. This started all like at 11, and we're handcuffed to doorknobs. And I'll never forget it. My buddy David from down the hall going, I want to go to bed. He's just screaming. I want to get. Yeah, we wanted to get it. He was actually a year or two older than I was. But anyway, they put us in. We finally, like 5 or 6, we got a cell, and I'm in my little cell. And then I'd never been arrested or anything, and then so I didn't sleep. And then I heard so the cells were on the outside. In the middle, there's like a rec room. So in the morning at 7, the kids come out and do rec. After they have breakfast, they'd come out and do rec room, right? And so I go over, and there's it's not a cell, it's like it's like a juvie, but you have just a wooden door with a window, right? And I look out the window, and I can see the rec room, and I'm looking around, and the window's literally like this big, little tiny window, and I'm looking around, see if I can see anybody. And there's one of those old ass console TVs, back in the day, that's over in the corner, right? And the news is on. And it's like overnight there was 2 different high-speed chases with teenagers. And I was like, oh my God, we made the news. We ended up being the first story. It was hilarious. And then it was,
you're like, did it?
Yeah. But I knew there would have been 2 high-speed chases because when we were handcuffed to the door, they brought the other kids in and they had crashed. So this kid come in by me, they took him by me, and he had glass and shit falling out of his hair.
Ooh.
It was crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Good old days.
We couldn't have high-speed chases because there's too much traffic here.
Dude, LA is the world epicenter of high-speed chases. If you go to LA.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Before we end this, you want to promote
Razorstrikingsystem.
And
yes.
You got any other sponsors
I mean, that's my most important one, right? That's the one that's putting food on the table.
Yeah. How exactly did you start that? And
Razorstrikingsystem. I like I said before, I worked in corporate America and gyms and traveled domestically for quite a while, and then I went international, and I was working for LA Boxing and then UFC Gym. And the thing that I noticed was everywhere we went, all the coaches were clamoring for more education, and they really wanted some kind of structured around, hey, in a class that has to do with punching and kicking, what do we do? And so I was giving them the framework, right?
Right.
But what happens when you give people a framework is there's a lot loose interpretation that can happen. And when you're punching and kicking people, especially if you don't really know them that well, you're just meeting them in a public gym, you getting injured is like this. Like in my mind, and I'm a National Academy of Sports Medicine certified personal trainer, youth exercise specialist, fitness nutrition specialist, mixed martial arts combat conditioning specialist,
former WEC lightweight champion.
Yeah, so all of that took into play, and the fact that I have kids that also train.
Right.
I'm like, hey, one day I'm not going to be here, and Dana White asked me to train his kids years ago. He goes, hey, bro, my kids are going through some stuff at school, and you're probably going to have to deal with it too, because other kids are like, oh, you think you're tough because your dad has UFC? Oh, you think you're tough because your dad's a fighter? And so he goes, I just want you to meet up my kids for the summer. We'll train with them and, make sure that they have a good understanding of it. I'm like, yeah, bro. And they have a great boxing trainer. He couldn't make it that summer. Skipper Kelp. I love the dude. And so I go, yeah, bro, totally down to do it. And the thing I realize is you can go into any gym and it's completely different. You got one guy who's like, everybody jump rope to warm up. You got one guy who's like, everybody shadow box. You got one guy that has everybody sparring. You have one people that are just hitting bags. So the idea of what striking is completely, there's no structured thing to it. Bang Ludwig. Yeah. He's got a very detailed, structured t-shirt curriculum. The thing that looking at it though, it was really high level. So you had to have an understanding of the foundation, the movements. You had to get that before you could start adding to it. And I think it's great. There's dudes in it. TJ is one of them that became world champions, right? Along with Dwayne. But I was like, hey, dude, there's more regular people like my kids and the people that I was training, because I started LA Boxing. It was basically bad classes for chicks, dude.
And nobody knows what.
Yeah, and so what I wanted to do was make it safe for people that could get into it, because martial arts has changed my life, right? I still got to feed my family because I'm on this journey. So, hey, how do I share that journey with people and make sure that they don't get hurt? And then, hey, dude, they get in shape while they're doing it and have fun. That's kind of martial arts. There's different aspects to it. And so it was like, hey, let's start with them with a good foundation, a good structure, stance, movement, motion, and then kind of started building on it. My partner Tiki was like, hey, dude.
Tiki helped you do that?
Yeah. He's my partner in Razorstrikingsystem. We launched it. We're looking for affiliates now to affiliate into schools. And so what we were doing, and we had a bunch of meetings with people recently, what we did was like, hey, dude, all the things I saw at gyms were like, the corporate company would sell them gear. And then they're like, hey, dude, I could go on the internet and buy this gear way cheaper. Yeah. So there was no margin. So I'm like, we need to make sure that when people get gear from us, they can't go on the internet and buy cheaper stuff. So there's got to be a margin for them to sell it. So we covered that box. We went and got our own manufacturing. Then we started going, all right, dude, what's the curriculum for this? And so there's striking 101 is what you start with. There's 23 lessons. Every lesson needs to be done 3 times in order to advance. There's attendance cards. There's a structured coach curriculum, so you don't just so everyone has to, so that there's kind of different ways of making money on it. You sell the coach training. The person is facilitating hopefully the coach who's certified is teaching that. So they've got a group of people, there's uniforms, there's margin on that, equipment, there's margin on that. As they go through striking 101, there's technique advancement, there's 15 classes. They need to do that 3 times. That's 45 times. So now these people are in it for a couple of years. Right. And then after you get out of technical advancement, you got to test. There's also bands. So instead of tying a belt around your wrist, striking doesn't really make sense. Grappling stuff, you should. There's bands that go around your wrist.
Okay.
So they're different colors. You start with gray, you get stripes. Right, stripes go for attendance, so 20 classes, and you're proficient in the techniques, you get a stripe, which is pretty cool because it kind of keeps people around too longer.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is fun. Yeah. So it goes gray, blue, purple, brown, black.
Dude, and did you come up with this all yourself? That's freaking amazing.
So it was just stuff that I saw that was like, hey, dude, there's a need for this. Yeah. And what would I want my kids to go through so that they understood? So that's how I built it. Hey, they have to understand the footwork, but not everybody is right-handed. Not everybody's going to stand in orthodox stance. So I would see guys that were left-handed, and they're like, yeah, I was left-handed. My coach never asked, and just made me go right-handed. So the curriculum is, in Striking 101, when you develop the very first part, it's lessons 1 through 12. 12 is knees. So now you're pivoting. So you're doing both stances. After lesson 12, 13 to 23, it's all in southpaw. So you repeat all the movement, the basic strikes, punching, 1, 2, 3, 4, jab, cross, hook, uppercuts, knees, the kicks, push kicks, roundhouse kicks, legs, head, body. So it's understanding A, offense, B, defense, the footwork, and they have measurables in it. So they're getting strong, right? They're doing push-ups, squats, sit-ups, neck exercises. They're doing dynamic stretching in the beginning. They're doing static stretching in the end. So I think it was a culmination of all the stuff I got to learn over the 10 years of doing corporate gyms and then having my own gym for the last 23 years with Tiki going, hey, dude. And then my own personal training.
Right.
of this is something really fun. This is something that can be monetized. This is something that's safe and that's going to get people in shape. And I still train like the LA County Sheriff's Department, their force instructors. I've got numerous guys that I train with. There's a U.S. Marshal in our program currently. So the idea of it being group fitness and martial arts was kind of how I wanted people to understand. Like, hey, dude, you can have fun doing this. You don't have to worry about getting teed off on.
Right.
And I will take anybody that's one of my blue band students and put them in any gym and have them go with somebody. And I know that they'll be able to intelligently defend themselves. That's the most important part.
Right.
Because if you get punched in the face and you don't know what to do, what do I do? Everyone learns the offense first. Well,
and what's the old saying? Everybody's bad or till you get punched in the face.
Yeah, dude. And if you're looking at how people do it, like they show up to take a bad class and then they tell their friend, oh, I trained. And their friend goes, oh, yeah? And they don't know what to do because there's no defense on a bag. So this is like, hey, dude, your footwork is your first line of defense. Look at Floyd Mayweather, dude. The guy's had 50 fights. You can't touch the dude. He has footwork. And he's quick.
His whole fighting style is 95% defense.
Yeah, he counters you. He's fast.
Absolutely.
That goes with age, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you got to be like, hey, if I'm going to hang in the pocket with somebody that knows what they're doing, and I realize from their stance that this dude's going to try to fight me. All right, I need to get out, and the door's behind him. How do I intelligently defend myself to do that? So that was designed like that. Hey, you got your hands up, you got your guard. I can use the footwork to evade people in strikes or put myself into a better position to get a better strike. So that's why it was developed. That's why we've been kind of doing it. It's integration now of hopefully launching it into some schools that like want a full round of people that like, hey, dude, we teach the ground part. Well, guess what? We do the ground stuff. Before you get there, you got to
learn.
Yeah.
Stand
what
up.
if the guy knows some kicking? Can you defend a kick? Can you defend a punch? So that was the idea behind Razorstrikingsystem. We're on 27 months now, and so we've got our highest level person besides myself, who's the creator, is our coach Kalani. He's a purple band. So it's been fun to watch these people come in, start. I have a lot of
at the ground and just it's actually smart that you put that together.
Well, it was just watching what taking footnotes from jiu-jitsu. And then myself being a jiu-jitsu practitioner and black belt, I was going, hey, dude, I want to go somewhere and not get hurt and have fun.
Right.
Like, hey, dude, you got a regular job. You're doing a podcast. Right? I mean, this is fun. So it's probably not like a job, but you know what I mean? You have fun doing it. I'm sure you get paid.
But you don't. But what you're saying is you don't want to go to the gym and like get your fingers broke. And
I don't want to be like a black guy and I'm sitting there with a broken leg. And Fight Club.
Right. For sure.
I broke the first rule.
Yeah.
But in the movie, right, everyone's there broken up. Oh yeah, dude, you're part of it. That's cool. And guess what, dude? I did that in the 90s with all of my students, and it was really fun. But guess what? Like, it is mixed martial arts now is like a household name.
Right.
So people can get integrated in this, realize it is a workout. It is fun. It's extremely effective if you do it right. But having the right coaches around you, because you can have the wrong coaches, and they say, oh, let those two guys fight. And it's like, bro, I have floaters in my eye from getting hit. I've got cauliflower ear. I perforated my eardrum multiple times. I've got lacerations. That's something that just happens. Even if the guy's like, and the famous last words is, hey, dude, do you want to go light? And then they touch gloves and they start teeing off. And then, so it's like, hey, dude, let's make it fun and safe for people. And then, hey, if you do have the guy who you touch gloves, he goes, we're going to go light, and he turns it up on you, you can defend yourself because you got the footwork and the defense. I think that was a major missing part from everywhere I saw that didn't have that. So that's a game changer for us.
It's awesome that you implemented that. Let me ask, do you have like when somebody signs up for a Razor Striker, do you have like have you put a study course together too for online?
We're working on that, the online digital portion of it.
Because that's going to be.
I know. We were coming out the gate with it, and then we kind of reeled back. Like, hey, let's make sure before we affiliate and stuff, we have the books to prove it. Like, hey, this thing does profit. This thing is a viable business, and it's fun because you don't have to walk in there and wing it, right? It's like, what are we teaching today? Now it's like, hey, dude, we're teaching lesson 4 today. Okay, lesson 4. What's that? That's 3 and 4 punches to the head. Okay, cool. And the cover defense. So. And
it's cool to see where Tiki is, because Tiki is like, he's killing it. Because I guess Tiki's managing fighters now,
he's a coach.
He's Pav,
and manager.
Yeah, because he used to just be a coach, and Pav was the freaking manager.
Yeah.
And now it's
well, yeah, now he's got a good what's the word we're looking for? We have a good group of people. I
always did, but
I'm trying to think what
it's called. Cool. It's cool to see like where everybody's moved to.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiki. For those of you who don't know, Tiki is it Gosen? Tiki Gosen. He actually owned Huntington Beach Ultimate Training Center, and you were a partner in that too.
Yeah.
The original Team Punishment.
Everyone thought it was Tito's gym. We're like, it's Tito's. That's for membership.
Yeah. That's exactly. And but Tiki is like, he's just transcended. He's really come up in the game too.
Yeah, I mean, he's fought in UFC multiple times, and he fought all studs. Hall of Famer dudes. There's a few of them. He fought Robbie Lawler on top of a bunch of other people. But he outside of that, he fought in Strikeforce, a bunch of other shows. So he has a good record, and he went through a lot of camps, and he was one of Tito's main training partners for a long time with Team Punishment, and then transitioned to being a coach for Rampage, Jackson, and a bunch of other guys who all already trained with us. And then you realize, dude, a lot of these guys are scumbag managers. Yeah. So he was like, hey, dude, I can negotiate deals for you guys if you want. Yeah. And that's how it kind of started. And now he's got a good stable was the word I was looking for.
Oh, yeah.
He's got Brian Ortega.
Oh, yeah, good stable.
Yeah.
He's got Jalen Turner.
He's got Jalen Turner, the tarantula. He's a stud.
Jalen and I were Facebook friends before he was even with Tiki. And then I saw him him with doing something with Tiki. I was like, oh my God, like you're with Tiki. That's freaking awesome, dude. Tiki's fucking awesome.
He's got a solid stable. He's got Mackenzie Dern, a few other like major UFC stars. So he gets to coach them on top of having the gym that they can come train at, and then the management part of like, hey dude, plus they've got good deals with sponsors, which is awesome.
Where's the gym? I know the last time I went to the grand opening, it was over right off Beach Boulevard, but you got like a warehouse or something now back over? We were off of Gothard, in between Talbot and like Slater on Gothard. It's right across the street from Central Park in Huntington Beach. And that's HB Ultimate Training Center.
HB Ultimate Training Center. HBUTC.com if you want to check it out online.
Yeah.
So that's where Razorstriking Center is, the headquarters. Been teaching those classes and making sure that it's something that we can, that's my legacy.
Yep.
I feel like, martial arts gave me so much, is giving back and then making sure that, hey dude, like people aren't going to get hurt doing this and go, I don't want to do this. I'll do something else. It's like, hey, this is fun. You don't have to get injured if you do it right.
And that's awesome. Just want to say thank you, Rob, for coming in and bringing your beautiful wife. It was actually awesome to meet you because I hadn't actually met you yet.
It was so nice meeting you too, and kind of hearing about your background. I didn't know that you guys went way back like that.
Right.
It's awesome. I'm sure there's some other cool stories that I'll hear.
It's funny.
On the drive home.
I was on a photo shoot yesterday with like in downtown LA with like a rapper in the arts districts of LA, and like I was telling him about the podcast. He's like, oh really, dude? You're like, he's like, he got all excited about it. I said, yeah, my old roommate Razor Rob's on my podcast tomorrow. He's like, oh wow. He's like, it's so funny because people like, I talk to people about, I know a little bit about MMA and stuff, and they look at me like, and I think to myself, if you only knew like my knowledge of what my knowledge of MMA, like what I was there at the beginning of it, with Evan, the pioneer days.
Tito kept telling me, bro, you got to come do this stuff, and I'm like, and I just read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh yeah.
So I was trying to think, how does my money make money for me? He's like, bro, come do this. I'm telling you, we can get you into UFC. He's like, you just got to wrestle a little bit. Yeah. Start wrestling, and I'm telling you, get you a couple fights, you'll make some good money.
Because Tito was actually a wrestler.
It's going to be the sport of the future. Yeah. And I'm like, the sport of the future? Now, this is like 97. Yeah. And I'm like, the sport of the future? Yeah. And then I fought in the pinnacle of kickboxing at the time, K1. And I was like, all right, dude, I made like $6,000.
You're like,
and I'm like, dude, this was awesome. But like, if I want to buy a house, because now I'm thinking, I'm thinking rich dad, poor dad.
Right.
How do I get money to make fun of me free? Well, I also needed like, he was saying real estate, even though he said real estate wasn't more of a liability than an asset. I'm thinking, hey dude, if a real estate by the beach in Huntington Beach, how do I get that money? And it was like, all right, if I start grappling, if I start doing that, I don't know, is mixed martial arts going to be the sport of the future? Well, thank God I listened. So
yeah, because you made a good chunk of change doing mixed martial arts. Not as much as they're making today, I think.
No, you know what's funny too is I knew that there was going to be a time that like the dudes who played in the NBA and had 100 games in like 6 months and made like $5,000 look back now, and you could look the two ways, right? You're optimistic or pessimistic. You could look back and go, or I could go, hey dude, that's super awesome. Like Conor McGregor, you're a fan or you're not. That guy he's made a bunch of money doing the sport that we all love to watch, and it's super amazing. And he opened
and he's good. He's good for the sport.
Yeah, dude. So Jake, I hate to say it, so is Jake Paul.
Oh yeah.
Bro, it's a clown show, but bro, he's got eyes to combat sports that some people would never get the platform. And
boxing was so dead until he's basically. I feel like he's revived. I'm not a huge Jake Paul fan.
Me neither.
But he's actually revived the boxing to where people are excited about it again.
So love it or hate it, there's guys that are going to be on the undercard. They're going to make a bunch of money that no one would ever seen, and that's going to keep going to keep combat sports going.
Absolutely,
and it's going to make the level of competition keep going like this. So like that book, The Rise of Superman, it's going to dudes are going to be exponential. Like
I was going to keep this to an hour. I think we're going on 2.
Yeah,
that's how you know it's a good conversation.
For sure.
Flowing.
Well, I haven't seen Rob in so long, so it's good to catch up with you guys. We're gonna end it here, guys.
We could talk forever.
I know they got other things they got to go do, but
I got to teach a class here soon.
Want to thank Rob for coming in, bringing his beautiful wife, and it was awesome to catch up with you. A crazy thing, what I was gonna mention real quick, a crazy thing about California is Rob is literally 30 minutes away. Huntington Beach is like 30 minutes away from where I am in Fullerton, and I haven't seen Rob in what? 10 years?
It's been a hot second.
The thing about living in California, the people in other states, when I lived in Dallas, I'd drive all the way across Dallas to go visit one of my friends. You know what I mean? But when you live in California, to get out of your zip code,
you're like,
it's like when you used to live in South Bay.
It's the traffic. That's what I'm saying.
It's the traffic.
It keeps you in the bubble.
There's a bubble. And you live in your little bubble.
Leave. Yep.
Anyway, it was awesome to catch up with you again, brother.
Yes,
thank you so much.
bro.
And thanks for doing the pod.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Tell Tiki I said hi. Tell Pav I said hi.
I will.
I guess Pav's son's birthday is Saturday, you said?
Yeah, I'll be there
Sunday.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
I might hit Pav up.
Sunday. No.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I might hit Pav up and see if I can roll over there too.
Yeah,
That'd
go.
Do it. We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, awesome.
I think my wife
Should we just blow up
decided.
the spot, give out the...
Yeah.
My wife said she was going to help him set up.
We'll give.
She'll be there
Is it
early.
at Pav's
Yeah,
house?
I'll be there early.
No, it's in a park.
It's at a park.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because I'll give out Pav's address because I still know what it is. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for the podcast. I appreciate you joining us here, and I appreciate Rob coming in and taking the time out of his day on a Friday to come in and do the podcast.
Of course.
And remember, guys, keep looking up because that's where it all is. Peace.
Boom.
Thank you for listening to the American Nomad Podcast. Until next time, keep looking up because that's where it all is.